Tigers! For the captain on the field, number 5, number 64 for Grossmont.
Tonight's game brought to you by Magnolia Heating and Cooling, along with Chick-fil-A. Grossmont winning the coin toss and elects to receive to start the contest in the Southern Conference opener here from Riverside, California. The national anthem here from Wheelock is about ready to get underway.
And remove all headgear for the playing of our national anthem.
We welcome you to Wheelock Stadium in downtown Riverside. 2,500 to see Southern Conference rivals RCC and Grossmont. The Tigers have won 20 consecutive home conference games coming into tonight's play. Tonight's game is brought to you in high definition on RCC Athletics and rccfootball.net. The tails of a tropical storm brushed through Southern California late last night, dumping about an inch of rain, making for tricky conditions on the AstroTurf for Wheelock Stadium tonight, but it should be manageable. Temperature currently at 61 degrees with a 15% chance of rain. Grossmont head coach Michael Jordan, in his 13th season, is looking for the school's first conference championship since his rookie year back in 2006. Tom Kraft of Riverside, 8 conference crowns and 4 SCFA title game appearances for the man responsible for the greatest 9-year turnaround the school may have ever seen. John Garibay, a sophomore out of Rubino, California, tees up the football, ready to send it away at the 35-yard line for the Tigers. Riverside 4-1 out of the Southern Conference and played their league opponents in Grossmont, who were formerly in the Central League and moved on down to the South as the Tigers face the 0-5 Grossmont Griffins, who have been in a tailspin this year and have that much-needed bye week to try and gather themselves for what is an important conference run here in the SCFA. Garibay towards the right hash, descended deep for Riverside, and the Griffins have 2 back in there. Jerry's Burnett and Andrew Lear in the end zone. To kick off the first week of conference play in week 7 overall, John Garibay He gets his team ready. The Tiger kicker, a sophomore, runs into the football, and we are underway in a line drive kickoff to begin the National Southern Conference. It sails into the end zone for a touchback. Grossmont sets up at their own 25-yard line, where they have employed two different quarterbacks with significant snaps. Last week in the ball game against Palabar, Brady Att, a freshman out of Houston, Texas, impressed the coaches as he garnered the starts, and last week was 16 of 37, 171 yards and a touchdown, but threw two interceptions, which has been an issue all year, the turnovers for Grossmont. Brady Att is in there for the Griffins. Craven's right slot. Grossmont spreads out three receivers to start the ball game. Att fires a slant and finds Matthew Linton, who stumbles to the 39-yard line and moves the chains for the Griffins against the Tigers secondary. Riverside has made some plays up front, but that group in the back four has given up some ground this year. Riverside giving up 258 yards per game passing, fifth in the league out of 6 teams, and bottom third in the state. So that secondary, with a couple All-Pros back there, Aaron Mannery and Eric Wilson, have been torched in a couple contests this year. Grossmont up on the ball after the 12-yard completion of Linton. Brady Att under center with an offset eye, and Shipman is in front of the big Kobe Ewer, who takes the handoff and surges to the 42. The Riverside Tigers are tough against the run, anchored by Cal Poly transfer Nicholas Figueroa, joining French, Asbury, and Sandoval up front. Firamontes, Agud, and Charles at linebacker, with Mannery, Wilson, Olatoa, and Fitzgerald as the starters of the Riverside secondary. Second down and short 5 after the run from Kobe Ewer, Grossmont's runner, a redshirt freshman out of Baltimore. And Att looks over the Tiger defense. They'll line up nickel. Soft coverage outside. Att takes the snap, drops 3 steps, throws it out, cut left. It's juggled and dropped off the hands left side of Jacob Rosar, who led the team in catches coming in. He has 15 for 207 and a touchdown, and hauled in a big score last week in the ball game against Palabar. 4 for 107 of that contest against the Comets, setting up 3rd and 5 for Grossmont. Their white tops and green bottoms. Tigers in all blacks with orange numbers and white trims. Beautiful uniforms for the league opener, week 7 of the year. Riverside 4-1, Grossmont 0-5. Griffins facing 3rd and 5, 4th in the league at 35%. This year are the Grossmont Griffins. A minute and a half in, opening quarter. Here's a run to Ewer. He stretches left and gets past the marker. Chased by Popo, but is upended at the 45. Deshaun Neal the tackle. It's a 13-yard gash for Kobe Ewer and a Grossmont conversion on 3rd and 5. Tigers get punched in the gut with a good dose of the ground game early, led by Ewer. The main tote getter this year for the Griffins has been Jarius Burnett, but he's off the field right now for the Grossmont Griffins. Ewer this season, redshirt freshman, tied for 4th in the league with 3 touchdowns. He came in with 12 carries all year for 67 yards, but he has been the starter back there. Shipman, the fullback, over right, and an offset eye with 3 wide for Grossmont again. Quick drop. Att launches high. It's juggled, and on a leaping try, dropped. Linton did have it for a moment. The official signaled it was a fumble picked up by Rosar of Grossmont. 2 minutes in opening quarter, no score. Grossmont on the move from their own 25 to the Riverside 42. Glad you're with us. Tonight's broadcast presented by Chick-fil-A, Magnolia Heating and Cooling. Nick Rice on hand from Wheelock Stadium, where the Tigers have won all 20 home conference games under head coach Tom Kraft. They just don't lose in this building. Overall, they're 47-2 under Kraft at historic Arthur and Wheelock Stadium in Riverside. Shipman is the fullback, but just behind Brady Att on a 2nd down and 7 inside run, this time to Beguile, the listed receiver. And he motors ahead for a 2-yard pickup. The tackle from Ramirez, the freshman corner out of Auburndale, Florida. And he is a transfer out of the Pac-12 in Arizona, setting up a 3rd down and 5 for Grossmont. Griffins converting already on 3rd and 5. Matthew Linton will line up as the receiver, split rights. He is joined by Dante Curtain, the freshman receiver out of San Diego. And Rosar is over left alongside Cravens on a wide 2x2. 3rd down on the long 5. As Att barks out new protections, and now Kropes up to under center for Grossmont. Drops 5 steps and unloads over the middle high. And off the page, intended for Rosar. Flag has been thrown On the coverage was Mannery and Neal. Mannery was underneath the routes, and he forced the incompletion. It's our first penalty flag thrown today with 11:41 to go, opening quarter, no score between Grossmont and Riverside. That Grossmont defense gets a good break to start the contest because the Griffins have just moved the chains. Pass interference. We don't have the microphones amplified, so we have no idea who committed the penalty, but my guess would be on Aaron Mannery, the freshman corner, rather sophomore out of San Jacinto, California. Grossmont adds on 15 to the conversion and are at the Riverside 25-yard line. Sensational start for the Griffins, who come in 0-5 on the season. Their performance last week wasn't a matter of starting strong. They held a lead over the Comets but couldn't close it out in El Cajon. With double tights, it's another straight-ahead run, and you're smothered for a loss. Victor Viramontes stepped in there and made the stop along with Kua Olotoa. Viramontes garnering 4 scholarship offers over the last month, with offers from SMU, TCU, Louisville, and Missouri. The highly touted sophomore at Norco. He has had an entertaining story. The former quarterback and All-State signal caller who transferred from both California and the University of Minnesota. He has bounced around the NCAA, but has consistently found success here with Riverside. That is the story for a number of athletes. And for head coach Tom Kraft, he has made a name for himself of sending guys to the next level. Throws the slant. It's just high and wide of Matthew Linton, who's chirping for a flag with 10:57 to go opening quarter. And the crowd is going nuts, but there is no yellow on the field. Could we be getting a pass interference here? Yes, we will. On the pass intended for Matthew Linton, a couple flags early against the Tigers, who this year have done a much better job limiting those mistakes. But Grossmont will advance the ball into the red zone. The ball placed at the 16-yard line right hash. Jonathan Summers is the receiver who sprints far to the left side, covered by Mannery, who has been so far torched in the first 4 minutes of the ball game. Grossmont is inside the red zone, winless on the year, but the Griffins are on the move. Double tights, Brady at hands. Here is Kobe Ewer again, and he rumbles over right guard across the 10-yard line and takes a tumble to the Riverside 8. A hard-nosed gain of 7, a healthy first down pickup for Kobe Ewer, and this ground game, which has been the emphasis for the Griffins this year. A team in Grossmont that stunned Riverside in 2014. The Tigers came into Week 3 ranked as the #1 team in the state, but Grossmont, led by that stiff defense, forced 8 turnovers. Yes, Riverside committed 8 giveaways. It was 3 interceptions and 5 fumbles, and that 2014 loss, handoff Ewer, and he is cut down to the 7 by Viramontes. That was where Grossmont beat him 38-28. A year later, Riverside snuck out with a narrow win, but since that ball game, they have yet to play here in Riverside until now as new conference foes, because Riverside joins the Southern League after formerly in the National Central Conference. 3rd and short for Grossmont, who bring in mass substitutions. That's Jonathan Summers, who checks in the ball game along with 94 for the Griffins. That is Fa'alile, the freshman out of San Diego, part of that tight end. They'll have 3 in there, their jumbo package. Burnett takes the handoff over right guard. He is hit and taken down short of the first down marker. Grossmont had moved the chains 4 times by way of either run or penalty, yet the Griffins stall inside the RCC 10. Riverside bringing some substitutions. Their field goal kicker, Grossmont's Ethan Albertson, is perfect on the year, 3 for 3, but the Griffins have the looks of going for it here on 4th down. A 6-minute long drive to start the contest from their own 25 to the Riverside 7. It's been a time-consuming march, heavily predicated on the running of Kobe Ewer, but Jarius Burnett, 3rd in the league in rushing. He's the deep back, takes the handoff, heads left, gets by the corner, 10-5, and Jarius Burnett sneaks across the pylon. Touchdown, Grossmont.
Touchdown, Griffins. That's number 3, Jarius Burnett, to the end zone.
The freshman out of Warner Robins, Georgia, scores his 3rd touchdown of the year. and a great drive for Grossmont to begin conference play. The conditions tonight, muggy, a bit wet. I'm sure down on the field there's a hard time getting footing. Albertson tacks on the extra point. He's 14-14 on PATs this year. But Riverside trails Grossmont 7-0 on a sensational 75-yard scoring drive. And now for the Tigers offense, we get to see one of the most explosive units in the SCFA. But first, for the Griffins, they must be highly pleased about the way they started the contest. Grossmont comes in 0-5 on the season, and a majority of those games have been blowout losses. They've been outscored this year, have the Griffins, by 19 points per game. But engineer a sensational drive. It appears the Griffins, at least early, took full advantage of the extra week off, as 14 days ago, that offense was nowhere to be found in the fourth quarter against Palomar. The final 12 plays in that game, they netted negative 10 yards. They couldn't close it out. But they're off to a fine start here as Grossmont leads 7-0 off the 8-yard scoring plunge from Jerry's Burnett, Grossmont's freshman runner out of Warner Robins, Georgia. Ethan Albertson out of Mount Carmel and San Diego. 11 yards. Here's the run-up for Albertson, and he sends it away, belting end over end, wobbling into the end zone. It's taken out from 4 yards deep. Here's the gamble by way of Tyler Kennedy. He spins across the 20 and is pulled down at the 29-yard line. Number 29, Brennan Goring, makes the tackle for Grossmont as Riverside takes the field. 8:38 to go, opening quarter. Grossmont 7, Riverside 0. Tigers bring out an incredible offense. Third in the state with a league-high 48 points per game and over 507 yards per game. They have torched the SCFA this year. Stone Smart has led the way. The transfer from Northern Arizona, quarterback with a wide 2x2 at the 29 to start the game, right hash. Takes the snap, handoff to his running back, Walker, and he boulders with a 35. 6-yard pickup for the sophomore to Corona. Up front for the Tigers offensive line are the starters of Ballard, Cron, Long, Smith, and Bryant. Tyrone Marshall, third in the league with 20 catches. Joins Stovall and Kennedy out wide with Walker and Buchanan at running back. Malik Walker with a first down pickup for the Tigers out to the 45-yard line. Riverside showing some pace as they quickly scramble for 16 yards on 2 runs. Here's the third in a row for Walker. He spins in the lane and dances to the 46, getting thrown down by Anthony Sola. We should hear a lot of the linebacker, a freshman from San Diego tonight, Anthony Sola, 5th in the league with 3 sacks, 21 tackles, 6 for loss this year, plus a deflection. Shotgun snap off the play action. Smart back, standing in, now scrambles left, shovels the pass ahead. Left side, here's Beckford. He dances across the 30 and rumbles down the left sideline out to the 26 of Grossmont. Griffins in shambles on defense to starts. Riverside is picking them apart, led by Stone Smart. The quarterback, less than a minute and a half, has helped the Tigers march just outside the Grossmont red zone. Tight 2x2 Tigers. Back at the 27-yard line of Grossmont, shotgun snap. Smart unloads out the right sideline and outcuts. It's complete in the flat out towards Jamal Houston. And the transfer out of Colorado State is down to the 14. Brennan Goring involved in the tackle. The Tigers have moved the chains. And really at will against Grossmont. 3 first downs to start the contest. Wide 2x2 with Grossmont up a touchdown. Smart flips the running back screen. Wimbish makes the catch and turns what could have been a 2-yard loss into a gain of 4. Blake Gerald makes the stop. 7:14 to go opening quarter. 7-0 lead Grossmont. Riverside with an incredible beginning throwing the ball with Stone Smarts. He came in the state leader in pass efficiency. There's a flag. This is against Grossmont. And a first down for Riverside following the infraction. They'll back it up at the 15. This should be half the distance. They'll move it ahead to the 9-yard line. 7:14 turning clock, opening quarter. Grossmont with a 7-0 lead on a Burnett touchdown run as the Griffins went 75 yards. Tigers are hoping to go 71 to tie the ball game. Motion, here is Jamal Houston. He's to the 10, And Jamal Houston gets escorted out of bounds at the 8-yard line on a jet sweep right side for the redshirt freshman by way of Harvey, Louisiana. With all of the talent Jamal Houston has, a fine athlete, certainly some significant size. He garnered 29 Division I offers coming out of high school, and it's a transfer from Colorado State, so it's very easy to see why the Tigers would want to get him involved. He is split right side, and Riverside has used a timeout. Well, my theory, Tom Kraft, irate that the defense gave up a 75-yard scoring drive. They are going lightning quick down the field from their own 29-yard line. They have the ball placed with a 2nd down and 4 at the Grossmont 8. Sensational start for the Tigers. A team with Riverside that torched San Diego Mesa with the ground last week. The Tigers, they began the first play of that home game against the Olympians, a 63-yard touchdown run from Malik Walker. They averaged 7 yards a carry for the game. But tonight it has been, at least early, a passing clinic from quarterback Stone Smarts, a transfer from Northern Arizona, a highly touted quarterback who was a 2-time state champion coming out of Oro High School, where he became the school record holder for pass yards, completions, and touchdowns for a career, Stone Smarts. And he's back there in the shotgun set alongside a tight 2x2. Wimbish flanks him. Smart takes it home at high, looking end zone. Stands in, steps, throws. Caught by Tyrone Marshall. Touchdown, Tigers.
Pass was complete to number 15, Tyrone Marshall, for the touchdown reception.
Capping off a 71-yard drive, the 8-yard strike from Smart to Marshall. And now Riverside brings out Garibay for the extra points. Out of the hold by Harris, it's a good one, and Garibay splits the uprights to tie the ball game at 7. Griffins threatening early with that touchdown drive, but RCC quickly gets on the board on a possession that took them less than 2 minutes. They went no huddle. They were sprinting on the ball. Grossmont struggled to even get sets. And Jamal Houston and Tyrone Marshall both were open in the end zone. A tightrope throw from Smart towards Tyrone Marshall gives the Tigers the tie at 7 apiece. The sophomore from Harbor City, California, his 4th touchdown of the season, ranked 3rd in the league. And with 6:37 to go opening quarter, we're tied at 7.
John Garibay kicking for the Tigers, back deep for the Griffins. Number 3, along with number 23, Andrew Larry, Jesse Burnett. Jarvis Burnett got back deep for Grossmont.
Burnett and Lira in the end zone for Grossmont. Garibay the kick. It's high. It towers towards the goal line, but is taken out by Jarius Burnett. He's across the 20, finds a seam that gets smoked by Mitchell Agu to the 22-yard line. And that is where the Tigers defense looks to shake off the rust of that bye week. They did not look very impressive along that 75-yard touchdown drive for Grossmont to start the ball game. A team of the Griffins that until 2015 had won 3 straight against Riverside in a series that is tied at 8 apiece. 17th all-time meeting between Grossmont and Riverside. And it's the last meeting since 2015. Inside run to Ewart, and he gets smoked right away. Converging on the tackle was Victor Viramontes. He makes no question that Grossmont off schedule may be forced to throw the ball. This season, the linebacker on a Norco, 25 stops, 3 for loss, and a deflection, and 4 rushing touchdowns to boot on offense. Victor Viramontes, really the quarterback of that defense, and middle linebacker alongside Kobe Fitzgerald, and also Devin Charles is in there as well, linebacker, but they have a revolving door at backer alongside Viramontes with talent all over the field for Riverside. Tigers crowd the line with 8 men inside the box. With a play action, stands in the pocket and loads over the middle high, and just outside the reach of Jacob Rosar and a skinny post over right seam. 5:45 to go opening quarter, tied at 7. Grossmont went 75 yards in just over 6 minutes to take the lead. Tigers answered less than 2 minutes later on a lengthy 71-yard scoring drive. And Grossmont faces 3rd and 11 at their own 21-yard line. Brady Att, freshman quarterback out of Houston, Texas, this year came in 38% completions with only 187 yards on the year. Certainly no understatement. The Griffins have had a paltry start to the season throwing the ball with both Brady Att and the backup Jacob Siegfried, a freshman out of El Cajon. With a wide 2x2, Brady Att looks and shoots it deep down the left sideline. Rosar back shoulder makes the catch and is shoved out at the 42-yard line. Incredible throw by Brady Att. He put it on the only spots just inside the box where Rosar could make the catch or no one else. He dropped it inside of baskets, and that moves the chains on 3rd and 11 for Grossmont on a 21-yard strike for the freshman who started to find his own now in conference play this year. 5:21 to go, opening quarter, tied at 7. Grossmont, the 4th play of their drive, at their own 42-yard line left hash. Glad you're with us, Tigers football, RCC Athletics, and RCCFootball.net. Kobe Ewer the handoff, and he gains 3. Head coach of Grossmont, Michael Jordan, recording his only conference title in his rookie campaign back in 2006. He did have 3 more winning seasons since then, but beginning after 2010, Grossmont, led by Michael Jordan, they have struggled mightily no matter what league they're in. 29 wins to 46 losses for this program since the early stages of his career. So they are looking for that win like today against Riverside, which could ignite their hopes to winning the conference. Brady Att looks deep. He's taking a shot but overthrows everybody. That was about 10 yards beyond the reach of Matthew Linton on a fly route, which sets up a 3rd down and 7 following the incompletion. Those are the type of throws that makes this Grossmont offense the league worst in completion percentage. Siegfried at 34%, Att not much better at 38% this year, as Grossmont needs the 48 of Riverside to move the chains. In a fast-moving opening quarter here from Wheelock Stadium in Riverside, where the Tigers and the Griffins are tied at 7. Single setback just behind Att. They'll feed it to him. It's Burnett who stumbles to the 49-yard line. It took a shoestring tackle, maybe a shoestring on one of the cleats of the Tigers' defensive lineman to bring down Jarius Burnett. They needed 7. That was a pickup of 3.5 for Jarius Burnett. 4th and short 4. Grossmont thinking about going for it, but after some contemplation, they'll bring out the punt team. As checking in for the Griffins for the first time is Ethan Albertson, freshman, Mount Carmel High School in San Diego. 13 punts, just under 31-yard average, and a 50-yard long. He is the field goal kicker and also the kickoff man. False start against the Griffins. Number 31, Hakeem Barton, jumped early. That'll back him up 5 yards with 3:42 to go, opening quarter. Nick Rice in hand from Wheelock Stadium in Riverside, California, tied at 7 between the Tigers and the Griffins. Tyler Kennedy, Week 3's Special Teams Player of the Week in the entire SCFA, stands at the 15-yard line, ready to receive the punt, a redshirt freshman from Moreno Valley. It's low. Penalty flag has been thrown again. False start.
Against the Griffins.
I couldn't catch that player who jumped early, but that cost the Griffins 10 yards of field position on flags. Ironically, the Griffins, one of the premier teams in the country in penalties. 39 flags committed against the Griffins all year. That ranks 11th in the state of California. And here is Albertson. This punt not nearly as long as the one he delivered with that flag, as it takes a favorable Tiger roll out to the 48-yard line. Just a 15-yard punt for Ethan Albertson. A paltry effort for the freshman, as now the Riverside Tigers have a short field, a dangerous proposition for any team, let alone the Grossmont Griffins. Riverside, 20 consecutive home conference wins, dating back to before Tom Kraft even took the job back in 2010. Former San Diego State Aztec head man. He was incredible for the Aztecs. His first year at San Diego State, he helped SDSU set a new passing record for most pass yards in a single season. 4 receivers spread right for Riverside. Stone Smart in an empty backfield stands in the pocket, fires down the field, a seam out to Marshall. 30, heads left, and is tripped up with a 24 by Preston Piltoff. A strike from Smart gains 26. And Riverside has moved the chains right away. The sophomore from Harbor City with an exhibition to start off the ball game. He's got 3 quick catches on just a drive and a half for Riverside. And now the Tigers are just outside the red zone. He's also hauled in the touchdown to tie the ball game at 7. Stone Smart receives the call for the sideline as the Tigers switch up the running back. Malik Walker is back in there, the sophomore from Corona, wide 2x2. Off the play action, he flips it left, and Almonte Smith makes the catch, taking a tumble in front of Piltoff to the Grossmont 8-yard line. Tigers in just 2 plays already deep inside the Grossmont red zone. Almonte Smith for the Tigers, just his 2nd catch of the year. Wide 2x2. Smart hands it. Here's Walker. Sneaks through a tackle and bowls into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. Malik Walker runs in for RCC's 6th touchdown of the year for Walker. The sophomore ranks 2nd of the league in scoring. We do have a flag thrown for a false start against RCC. A mere aberration to what is otherwise a juggernaut. Riverside on scoring drives of 52 and 71 yards to start the ball game. Grossmont with a long drive themselves to take the game's first points, but it's been all Tigers with 2:18 now to go first quarter. Kettle to hold, and the extra point is good again. 14-0 Riverside over Grossmont in the National Southern Conference opener. So now let's take a look at the Southern Conference standings as we currently sit today, and we'll give you an update on scores and also maybe even some big plays around the league when we head towards halftime. The Chick-fil-A and Magnolia Heating and Cooling halftime report also includes the RCC Tigers marching band. The Southern Conference, number 3, RCC leads that conference right now with a non-league record of 4-1, alongside number 9 Southwestern, who's also 4-1. Then to round out the league is 2-3 Gold West, 2-3 Saddleback, 1-4 Orange Coast, and the 0-5 Grossmont Griffins. Despite struggling on defense to start, it's just a 14-7 ball game. Griffins, I'm sure on the sideline, are thinking that any sort of momentum here could change the tides in favor of the Tigers right now. Just a 1-possession game. Garibay the kickoff, and it yet again soars into the end zone. Taken out by Burnett, 2 yards deep. Lyra provides a bit of a convoy for Grossmont as Burnett spins, then is smothered at the 22-yard line. The special teams tackle Isaiah Gord was in there for RCC with 2:11 to go opening quarter. 14-7 Riverside over Grossmont as the Griffins, they begin this conference slate against RCC, but Grossmont will return home for 3 of their final 4 games, including 2 straight. Next Saturday, Grossmont at 3 p.m. will be at West Hills High School to tangle with the Jaguars of number 9 Southwestern. A stiff test for RCC's Southwestern. They are a real club out of the SCFA Southern Conference. 3 receivers, Brady at call signals. And now we have a stoppage in play, 2:11 to go opening quarter. RCC leads 14-7. Southwestern, the timeout's called before the snap. Rarely you see that following a kickoff. But Grossmont will play Southwestern next week. The Jaguars, that defense, they are tenacious. They have some Division I prospects on that side of the football where the Jaguars are giving up under 12 points per game. Not even Riverside can say that, and not even Grossmont, which is ranked as the number 1 team in the States. It's Southwestern. They are giving up under 12 points a game, ranked 3rd in California. Their total defense, 5th in the state, and they also have recorded 11 interceptions to rank 2nd in all of California. Southwestern will be the opponent for Grossmont next week. and then the opponent for Riverside when we have our next live stream in 2 weeks on Saturday, October 27th at 6 p.m. right here at Wheelock Stadium. It should be a great game next week. We've got a good game right now, late first quarter inside Rudd Ewer, and the Tigers force a wall. The first one in there, slamming in for the tackle, was freshman Caleb Fitzgerald out of Anaheim, his 8th tackle of the year. With under 2 minutes left to go in the opening quarter, and a 14-7 lead for Riverside. Smart with an 8-yard touchdown toss to Marshall for the Tigers score following the run from Burnett of Grossmont. Then RCC punched it in on their short scoring drive the next possession with a TD run from Malik Walker. 2nd and 10, Grossmont at their own 22-yard line for their third drive. First went 75 yards for a touchdown. Second with a punt. Here is Ewer, who was smothered by Nicholas Figueroa. Boy, what a player Figueroa is. A transfer from Cal Poly. 9 scholarship offers, all from FBS schools in that Power 5 conference, except for just a couple. Some of them are in that group of 5. Central Florida, New Mexico, UCLA, North Carolina, San Diego State, Arizona, California, Bowling Green, and Oregon State. Those are the scholarship offers for Nicholas Figueroa coming into tonight, and he has more certainly to come for the RCC Tigers. Off the tackle for loss, Figueroa's 10th of the year. That leads the conference by a mile. 3rd and 12 is the result for Grossmont. Brady at the throw. Blitz is on. He throws it out, cut left, and it's wide. Incomplete. Rosar the target. Olatoa the coverage. And that stops the clock with 41 seconds to go opening quarter. Nick Rice on hand, Wheelock Stadium in Riverside as Grossmont goes 3 and outs. And Tyler Kennedy, the dangerous redshirt freshman out of Moreno Valley, will stand deep, ready to ignite this crowd and this offense. 14-7 Riverside with 41 seconds to play opening quarter. Tigers are threatening to bring the kitchen sink here as they've got 8 ready to get after the punter. Here's Albertson, takes the snap, but first the flag has been thrown. His last punt went 15 yards. False start on Grossmont. Well, maybe this is the impact a team like Riverside can have coming in as the number 3 team in the state. Grossmont, a team that almost never makes mistakes, and the penalty department has been flagged numerous times. 5 already in the opening quarter. Albertson, low snap, scoops it off the deck, sends away a line drive better than his last punt, end over end, taking Kennedy, makes him end this, heads left to the 50, gets a good block, 40, 35, 30, Kennedy is down the left sideline and run out of the 34-yard line. The tackle by Dylan Helmholtz, sophomore from Lakeside, California. After the return, a dazzling 27-yard run back for the redshirt freshman Tyler Kennedy. 33 seconds to go opening quarter, flag down with RCC of 14-7. Here's the call. Holding on the receiving team. That'll back it up. And certainly a tough pill to swallow for Tyler Kennedy. He's had a couple nice runs negated this year by penalties. A team in Riverside that ironically has struggled all year in punt returning. That's one of their few dark spots. Just 6 yards of punt return for Riverside this year. And now the Tigers will be backed up following the infraction. They were going to start at the 27 of Grossmont, instead at the 37 of Riverside. So that wound up being a penalty that cost the Tigers dearly. 40 yards of flipped field position. Wide 2x2, under a minute to go opening quarter. As Stone Smarts with a flag down, thought about a free play. And that pass was caught by Marshall. He was going to take it the distance, but this should be some movement against Riverside. No, it's a penalty on Grossmont. Offsides. Head coach RCC, he is a good one, Tom Kraft. In his 9th year with the Tigers, he is 81 wins to just 14 losses for his career. Not half bad for RCC. Better than seemingly every coach in the SCFA right now. He took a 1-9 football team to the most wins through an 8-year stretch in school history, and he has kept that momentum going. And the recruiting has been solid. He has hired some of the best coaches in SCFA football, and go figure, the Tigers also have got a pretty good football team out there right now. Tom Kraft, not a bad coach, and also not a bad man. And speaking to Tom Kraft, he is quite the individual, and it's to no surprise that his team continues to rally around him in these type of football games. Conference opener, glad you're with us. Tigers football. Nick Rice in hand from Wheelock Stadium. Wide 2x2 as the Tigers begin with a 1st and 5 at their own 42-yard line. On the left hash, Stone Smarts against the blitz, hands to Wimbish, and he is spilled for loss. Anthony Sola joins Dylan Helmholtz on the tackle on what might be the final snap of the opening quarter. We got 20 seconds left. Well, they may get one more play in. Tigers have gone at a breakneck pace to start off this opening quarter on offense. They do receive the new call from the sideline. 10 seconds left, down to 9, down to 8. As all right, Tom Kraft is talking about the new signal. Takes it with 2 seconds to go in the quarter. Smart scrambles to the left, being chased from behind by way of Williams, and scampers out. Sola delivers a late hit, and there's the flag. Grossmont, they are losing their cool on defense with false starts, encroachments, different sort of penalties, and here is a roughing the passer out of bounds unnecessarily against Grossmont to end the first quarter. We will sort this one out in a moment. At the end of one, Riverside in control off the slow start as they lead the Grossmont Griffins 14-7. This is Tigers football on RCC Athletics and rccfootball.net.
I was going to give you back one. The rapper. That happened. They're getting tired, they're getting sloppy. They're getting tired. The men people down there. Let me clarify that. They're getting tired. Oh, this pool is so slow. That's a long quarter. That's long? No. At this time? Come on, let's put up 100. Let's do it. Come on. I'm so confused. This is taking a long time. I'm confused. How come we don't have 100 points on the board right now? Oh, because we're playing sloppy. Yeah. We're not tired. We're just playing sloppy. Yeah.
Welcome back, RCC Football on RCC Athletics and rccfootball.net. Beginning of the second quarter here from Arthur and Wheelock Stadium in Riverside, where the Tigers lead the Griffins 14-7 in what has been an entertaining start. But Anthony Sola, Grossmont's freshman linebacker out of San Diego, commits a very bonehead penalty that grants Riverside 15 yards and a fresh set of downs. Jamal Houston, Kayvon Beckford, and Tyler Kennedy are the three receivers spread right. Xavier Marshall, freshman wideout of the Corona Centennial, is split left with a flag down. As we are just underway in the second quarter, glad you're with us on Riverside City College football as the officials try and sort out this infraction. Now the Tigers coaching staff will bring over the team with a touchdown lead. Riverside next weekend is back on the road in Huntington Beach when the Tigers tangle with the Rustlers of 2-3 Golden West. That's followed by home game against Southwestern, the number 9 team of the state. You can catch that broadcast right here on RCC Athletics and rccfootball.net. Then they'll close out the schedule at Orange Coast and home against a formerly ranked Saddleback club that with those 4 losses they have suffered, they are out of the rankings right now. Is Saddleback College, a team that came in with all sorts of expectations. They were coming into this year 29-11 in this incredible run. They were 8-3 a season ago, and 2 of those 3 losses came to the eventual national champion Fullerton Hornets. They got to a state championship, won an SCFA title back in 2015. Saddleback has been really good, but they are 2-3 right now. And for the Saddleback Gauchos, they understand that this league, they've got to rattle off wins, especially not playing Riverside until late. Stone Smart with a flag down, throws it deep and incompletes. Sloppy start to the second quarter here from Wheelock Stadium in Riverside with a 14-7 edge for the Tigers. Let's take a look at those state rankings right now with an infraction against Grossmont, yet another one. Riverside is number 3 at 4-1. They are behind 6-0 Fullerton and 6-0 Canyons, who both won earlier this week, as Fullerton dispatched Cerritos earlier today, 35-25, and Canyons dismantled Moore Park on the road, allowing only 3 points in the blowout victory. Wide 2x2 on a 1st and 5. Smart is looking deep, stands in, shuffles, steps up and runs to the 40, and scampers straight ahead to the 35-yard line. Helmholtz involved on the Grossmont tackle as he gains 4.5, marking him just short of the first down. Stone Smart back on the football with the 4 receivers, and Wimbish flanking him left. He takes the handoff, and Wimbish has got the first down, sneaking over left guard for 3 yards. Kevin Brown, the tackle for the Tigers, he just planted one of the Griffins in Taylor Melame, the freshman from Biglerville, Pennsylvania. There was no flag. Kevin Brown supplying some toughness on that offensive line as they have had some changes up front for the Tigers. As we are just underway in the second quarter, Riverside up 14-0 with 4 wide. And Jamal Houston is getting some significant snaps. He's split right. Smart stands in the pocket and checks it down where the pass is dropped by way of Tyler Kennedy. He was on a crossing route but was sitting inside the zone and was wide open. Those are some of the issues a team can have when they underestimate a club like Grossmont, who came in winless, 0-5 on the season. And the Tigers hold a 14-7 lead. Grossmont has been outscored by 19 points a game this year. And Riverside sluggish to start the contest. Tigers with 3 receivers on a 2nd and 10 at the Grossmont 33. Quincy Wimbish takes the handoff. He's to the second level and dances in space, crawling ahead to the 22-yard line, upended by Deshae Wade, a freshman at El Cajon. It's only his 2nd tackle of the year. A minute gone by here, second quarter. Riverside has moved the chains. As the Tigers began this drive at their own 37, they have marched by way of a roughing the passer penalty on Anthony Sola and also that latest run to just outside the red zone. 1st and 10 at the Grossmont 22. Quincy Wimbish takes the handoff. He's to the 15, 10, 5, and dives towards the goal line. No signal yet. Quincy Wimbish is signaled short at the 1-yard line. That was an incredible effort to dive over that line. The sophomore from Marietta, who has had a breakout campaign, 214 yards a year ago and almost 300 now at almost 8 yards a run, and he will stay in there. He has earned those snaps taken away from Malik Walker, as now he is in there at the 1-foot line. Riverside does spread out 2 wide left, but they'll have double tights on a 1st and goal. From the 1, tight motion, Houston. They feed it to him on a jet sweep, but a flag has been thrown for a false start. Riverside will be backed up 5, 2 minutes in second quarter, 14-7 Tigers.
False start.
Now they're backed up to around the 5.5-yard line. Riverside leads the States with 21 red zone touchdowns coming in tonight, and they have punched it in twice in this half inside the 20, with the touchdown toss of 8 yards from Smart to Marshall and the 8-yard run earlier from Walker. They are 5 yards away right now. Smart flips it left, tunnel screen. Kennedy races to the corner. Touchdown, Tigers. This should be coming back. Hold by Riverside. And they'll replay the down following the infraction against RCC on that crackback block on that tunnel screen. Kennedy was sprung loose by Xavier Marshall, who has checked in. He is getting some important snaps too, as Xavier Marshall, freshman from Corona. Last year at Centennial High School, he had quite the year, 49 catches, 710 yards, and 8 touchdowns for the Huskies, who are consistently a national championship contender out of the CIF Southern section. Tigers backed up with 2 flags from first and goal at the 1 to the 16. Here's a run to Wimbish, and he is cut down for a loss. Blake Gerald, freshman backer out of Pine Valley, California, makes the stop. For a team in Grossmont, they have given up. It's really been a much maligned year for this defense. They've given up over 40 points a game, but they have some very impressive players and playmakers on that defense, just not enough to make a difference so far as they come in 0-5. Riverside at 4-1, ranked as the number 3 team in the States and the top-ranked team with a loss this year, only behind 6-0 Canyons and 6-0 Fullerton. Wide 2x2, Smart looking long, steps up, throws underneath, the pass right side on the hitch. It's caught by Houston, who takes a tumble to the 10. Tackled by Andrew Lira, who has had a sensational year, freshman from El Cajon, second in the league with 6 deflections this season. And now for Riverside, that sets up a 3rd and goal at the 10, looking to punch it into the red zone for the 3rd straight series. 11:40 left to go in the half. It's 14-7 Riverside. And now Smart changes of the play. Quincy Wimbish, sophomore from Murrieta, flanks him right. Behind Walker, he's the team leader in rushing touchdowns. Smart takes the snap. He's in the block, throws a fade to the end zone, tipped and nearly intercepted by Traquan Jenkins on the ricochet. The pass intended for Tyrone Marshall. Riverside, in large part to 2 penalties inside the 1-yard line, falter and bring out the field goal units. Rarely does RCC have to settle for a red zone field goal, but John Garibay checks in. It's been an adventurous year for the sophomore, 2 of 4 in field goals. He's missed 3 PATs. This is a kick from 27 yards. And Kettle put down a good hold as Garibay drills it with plenty of room to spare. 11:23 to go. Here's second quarter. RCC, off 3 straight scoring drives, have a 17-7 lead over Grossmont.
With a large poster, we're asking the kidney to sign if they know anybody that has sickly with cancer. We also are selling bracelets or available exchange for a donation. All that is in the Cement Bar area.
John Garibay to kick. Burnett and Lira to receive. And here it is. A bit short, taken by Jarius Burnett at the 3. Springs left of the 20 and finds Jusim getting escorted out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line. Good return for a man who came in 3rd in the league in rushing, but has mainly been a reserve tonight. Christopher Beguile and also Kobe Ewer have been the main tote getters. A couple carries from Burnett, but that's it. For a man who came in 62 carries, 366 yards, and 2 touchdowns this year for the Griffins. And he punched one in from short yardage, an 8-yard touchdown to start the contest. And Grossmont led 7-0 in this game. Now the Tigers are up by 10. Grossmont, every drive since that touchdown has ended in a punt. Flips it short, right flat to the Griffins, and he's tackled right at the line of scrimmage by way of number 23 and Jalen Bowens. Jacob Rosar made the catch and wound up losing a yard. As we're back in action with 10:55 left to go in the half. Griffins, this football team, they certainly, looking at tape, had to be encouraged about Riverside's performances this year on defense. Even though they have some playmakers, there have been some plays to be had on the back end of this Riverside secondary. Tigers line up one high as Grossmont goes ground yet again with Christopher Beguile, who is tripped up quickly by Victor Viramontes, who has had a whale of a half for the Tigers. Viramontes has already with 5 tackles. Jake Dunaway of San Diego Mesa, he really torched this defense a couple weeks ago despite the Riverside blowout. He was 32 of 46, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. He had his way against Riverside as the Tigers secondary, maybe the extra week could give them some momentum needed to make life a little tougher for their next quarterback, and that's Brady at tonight's. Wide 2x2 on a 3rd down and 10. At the throw, drops, looks right, flips it short, and it's dropped. Intended for Dante Curtain as the Griffins go 3 and outs for the 3rd time tonight. Grossmont will bring out the punt team. 9:51 to go in the half. Riverside up 17-7 with a unit that has never punted. 3 drives and 3 scores. Pretty good efficiency for that RCC offense, which ranks 3rd in the state. They also have a league high, 48 points a game. Complacency is certainly something to fight. Fullerton had to battle with it in the second half as Cerritos nearly came back and beat them as they came in as the number 1 team in the state, but the Falcons gave them a run at the second half. Driving back as Kennedy takes it on the punt return to the 24. He's losing ground and brings it back to around the 27. Kennedy got slammed off the short return, the tackle by Peter Garcia, a freshman out of Kissimmee, Florida. His 9th tackle of the year. Now Riverside begins their 4th drive up 17-7 over Grossmont's. Incredible performance for this team, but they did sputter inside the 10-yard line on penalties and also some drop footballs throughout that previous drive. And the Tigers will bring it back out there. Stone Smarts, transfer out of Northern Arizona. 4th in the state, 67% completions coming in, 1,166 yards, 16 total touchdowns, and most importantly, just 1 interception. From the 25, Walker takes the run over right guard and is stacked up at the 30. Bryson Collins involved in the tackle. As Riverside has gone to their bread and butter, it's the ground game. This unit this year, the Tigers rushing attack, 265 yards per game by the ground this year. Riverside has been incredible, a league high in rushing, 3rd in the state, and they gained 5 there. Grossmont a rush of 4. Smart stands in the pocket, rolls right, gets a good block. He'll tuck it and run. Smart across the 1st down marker. He tucks it in across the 40 and rumbles out of bounds at the 49. A 19-yard gash for the sophomore signal caller, Stone Smarts, and an RCC 1st down. All right, Smarts, if it weren't for the sacks he has taken this year, he's averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Is the sophomore to Loomis. And that'll move the sticks off the 19-yard gallop. 3 receivers. Now 2 as one of them checks out. No, that's Tyrone Marshall. He fake checking out. He's running back in. And now moves over to the left slots. RCC 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. Grossmont crowds the box again. They bring the blitz. Gut run to Walker in the pistol. And Collins makes the stop off the gain of a long 5. Tripped up by Helmholtz as well. Malik Walker has been the main tote getter on this drive. Sophomore from Corona. A team in Riverside that doesn't just get a lot of rushing yards. They do a lot with their limited carries. About 5.5 yards a carry for that team this year. So they are making some damage when ball carriers get the ball, and that has helped them lead the state in pass yards per attempt. So off those play actions, they have been lethal. From the 46 of Grossmont, Smart with a 5-step drop. He's pressured, and Smart slips through and scampers ahead of the 44-yard line. Blake Gerald made the stop, but Smart appeared dead to rights. He danced inside the pocket and made two men miss. All right, that's the happy feat that made Stone Smart dangerous. So he is an incredible athlete to go along with his sensational size, 6'5", 220 pounds, and a serious threat every time he runs outside the pocket to scramble and even to throw. 3rd down and 4 as Grossmont brings in their substitutions. And now play resumes, 7:26 to go here, second quarter. Riverside holding on to a 17-7 lead, where they have scored all the points unanswered against Grossmont. Wide 2x2 and a flag has been thrown. Delay of game.
Penalty flag on the play.
You can hear the sarcastic voice of the PA announcer about a penalty flag being thrown, as Riverside is backed up to a 3rd down. This is the best 3rd down offense in the state of California, 51%. Ironically, they had their worst 3rd down effort of the season last week, but are still very good. Belt high snap, Smart rolls right. He's got a man open, throws to the sideline high, and incomplete. Lear with good coverage. Beckford was the intended target, but it appears, as Beckford was clapping, he had the indications of a flag, but there was none there. And Riverside stalls. They'll bring out Garibay. Just the second time tonight that the Tigers have faltered on a 4th down, with 7:04 now to go in the half. Back deep for Grossmont is the punt returner Andrew Lira, a freshman out of El Cajon, California. This year for the Griffins, they are one of the premier punt return teams in the state of California, but the fair catch is signaled and made diving down by Andrew Lira at the 13. We saw Grossmont start the ball game with a drive of over 6 minutes. They went 75 yards, converted 3rd downs, converted 4th downs on their way to the Jerry's Burnett touchdown. They led 7-0. Less than 2 minutes later, Tigers went 71 yards in about 10 plays, scoring on the touchdown toss from Smart to Marshall. Walker ran one in from 8 yards out later on in the half. Field goal from Garibay, and now Grossmont is back on the field off a Garibay punt with a RCC lead of 17-7. Griffins set up to start their next drive with a jumbo package timeout called by Grossmont. And that will be their first charged timeouts. RCC, they have specialized in jumping out the gates to start the season and to start conference play. Last year, the Tigers, they opened up with an incredible performance against Victor Valley, 52-9. This year, they dismantled El Camino 34-7 on the road. And Torrance are on their way to a 4-1 record to this point this year. But in conference play last season, they outscored their opponents by a plus 95 margin. So they just jump out like gangbusters in conference play. That was the story last year and throughout the tutelage of Tom Kraft. Here they are off to another fine start against Grossmont, who is playing pretty tough on the defensive side, just forcing that most recent punt from Garibay and giving Brady Atten company a chance. The quarterback, who is completing this year 38% of his passes, he's looking to garner some rhythm down the stretch of this opening half. Jumbo package for Grossmont, but Att will throw, flips it over the middle, and finds his tight end on a seam route down the left side. He's down to the 29-yard line. Fa'alele made the catch for Grossmont. It's his first of the year. And now the Griffins have moved the chains off some trickery. A 16-yard completion. Fa'ilele, the catch off the Brady Att throw. And this quarterback, despite all of the struggles throwing the ball for Grossmont this year, they ranked 5th in the league in passing. They did have a fine throw, and the quarterback has nearly 100 yards. Stretch run left. And a short pickup for Kobe Ewer of Grossmont. Griffins coming in 0-5 on the season, and dead last in non-conference play out of the Southern League. 6:25 to go in the half, 17-7. Riverside. Last meeting, the Tigers had a huge lead before the Griffins had 3 fourth-quarter drives with a chance to take the lead after cutting a 16-point edge to 2. So Grossmont is capable of those comebacks. We saw it when they beat them in 2014 and almost beat them a year later in 2015. Both times Riverside were one of the best teams in the state. If there's any team that for some reason always plays RCC tough, it's head coach Michael Jordan and the Grossmont Griffins. Jordan has had a fine story throughout his career as well. He is really quite the comeback efforts. And that's one of those stories that you tell your young kids about, that there's always a chance to achieve your dreams. Michael Jordan in the 70s was a ball boy for Grossmont when they were winning state championships. In the 80s, he was their offensive coordinator for 16 years before finally being garnered the head coach job in 2006. He waited his turn for decades. Brady had a deep drop. He's hit as he throws, checks it down, and it's dropped by Burnett. The throw is a bit low off the shoe tops and shaded for Burnett. But Michael Jordan, even though Grossmont has struggled as of late, mainly with some recruiting, there is colleges across the board down there in the San Diego area. A team they played most recently in Palomar. You also see clubs, most recently the team RCC played in San Diego Mesa. All colleges that are taking athletes away from Grossmont's area. But the Griffins, nevertheless, they've got a guy, Michael Jordan, invested in this program. He has been around with the Griffins for over 40 years. Bootleg left, Ack gets rid of it, and the pass is incomplete. Jose Ramirez, the Arizona transfer, thought he had the pick six as he ran into the end zone. 6:04 to go in the half, with Riverside up 17-7. And a fourth down is coming up. Griffins falter again on third down. That was an issue last week. On conversion tries, they were 7 for 21. Similar conversion rate right now on third down for Grossmont in this half. Tyler Kennedy at his own 30. The punter Albertson stands at his own 17. Chest high snap. Albertson sends away a towering end-over-end punt, and Kennedy reels in the fair catch in front of Wilton Cravens at the 30-yard line. 38-yard punt from Ethan Albertson, no return, with 6:04 to play opening half. LRCC, after the slow start against San Diego Mesa a couple weeks ago, they really put the nail in the coffin against the Olympians. 19-0 to start the second half against San Diego Mesa. And here they look to close out the first half in style as well as they set up shop at their own 30-yard line. Tigers, they'll bring in a wide 2x2 again. Jamal Houston, Kayvon Beckford to the right, Tyrone Marshall, and also Tyler Kennedy to the left. Stone Smart goes ground, however. Here's an inside handoff to Walker, and he scoots over right guard down to the 39. A 9-yard pickup for the sophomore out of Corona. No, it's Eric Buchanan, sorry. Freshman out of Riverside, Eric Buchanan. 25 carries, 119 yards this season, but Grossmont's got a man down. Number 34, Dylan Helmholtz, seeking the attention of the training staff with 5:56 left to go, second quarter. Let's take a look at some of the state scores from earlier today as the Tigers, I'm sure heading into this contest, we're looking around the league knowing that there is the potential ground to make up in the Triple CAA rankings, currently ranked third by the time this conference game is over. Fullerton with a 35-25 win where Cerritos outscored them 18-0 off the half, and the Falcons had a chance to pull off the upset of the year. Fullerton has now won 25 straight. In the SCFA, we also see some important scores. As let's look. Palomar and Mount San Antonio are tied at 14. That is a matchup where Fullerton will visit Mount San Antonio in the final game of the regular season, what should be a stiff test for the Hornets. Ventura leads Bakersfield 10-3. The Pirates come into tonight 4-1, ranked 5th in the state. As we see off the play action, Smart scrambles for 3 and a first down. San Diego Mesa off the loss against RCC, coming back with a solid start, 13-7 lead over the El Camino Warriors. That game is midway through the second quarter. Those are some of the scores from around the SCFA. We will get the full breakdown of this league along with a preview of next week at the halftime report presented by Chick-fil-A and Magnolia heating and cooling. Shotgun snap Smart. He's looking deep. Steps up, rolling left. He is pressured, so a tuck and run again. And scampers out of bounds with the 46, Goring the tackle. 5:21 to go in the half. Riverside up 17-7. Glad you're with us, Tigers football. Nick Rice on hand from Arthur and Wheelock Stadium in Riverside. The Tigers have never lost a conference home game in the history of the 9 years of head coach Tom Kraft. They are 20-0 at home in this building during conference play. Second down with a shotgun snap. Smart looks left, flips it left. It's caught by Marshall at the 50, dances down the sideline, tucking it with just his palm, and is run out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Crafty move from Tyrone Marshall, top 3 in the league in catches, yards, and touchdowns. It's another one. He came in with 20 of those receptions. A former kickoff returner almost exclusively at 6'1", 185 out of Harbor City, California. Fresh set of downs for the Tigers, under 5 to go, up by 10 to the opening half. Stone Smart shuffles off a 3-step drop, fires a crossing route down the left seam. It's caught with a flag down over to Tyler Kennedy. Indications are this play is coming back. Here's the call from our officiating crew, who may need to ice their shoulders after this game is over with all the flags being thrown. Official still talking this one over. Hold and face mask. Replay first down. Those officials may also be talking about the stunner we saw earlier today in Baton Rouge, because LSU knocked off the number 2 team in the country and the Georgia Bulldogs. Who could have saw that coming? Because they were rolling out of the SEC, dismantling everyone in that conference. LSU, they started off with a real bad loss last week to Florida. They did look a bit in shambles, especially that defense, which gave up some huge plays against the Gators. But they come back, and just like the SEC does, it was a stunning win. Stone Smart unloads it deep on a seam out. It's dropped by Marshall, knocked away by Preston Piltoff, the sophomore corner out of Delray Beach, Florida. He also is second in the league with 6 deflections, along with 2 picks. He had a beat on that throw, buzzing underneath the route. 4:19 to go in the half. RCC up 17-7. Tigers may be going back again. Complacency is a real thing. When you are a football team that is good, knows you're good, told every day that you're good, it's hard to play a team like 0-5 Grossmont and give it your best effort. But they do lead by double digits right now. And despite the penalty, are on the move at the Grossmont 47 left hash. Griffins threatening blitz as they have 7 of the box, now back up to 6 as Andrew Lira joins Derek Sutherland in the secondary for Grossmont. One high safety, however, that is Deshae Wade. Smart flips it left high and out the reach of Tyrone Marshall, who has been a go-to target of this half. Tigers face a second down and 20 with 4:14 to go in the half. It should be noted Riverside will receive the kickoff from Grossmont to begin the third quarter. Tigers line up in a wide 2x2. Grossmont settling into just a one high safety look as the other one creeps over. Smart looking, chucking down the left side towards the sideline. Sneaking over is number 80, DeQuante Showers. He makes his 5th catch of the year. The 5'9 receiver out of Jacksonville. He scampers out of bounds at around the 30, which will set up a third down and manageable. Ball placed at the 32 for a third down and 5. Tigers lead the state on third down percentage, 51% of the year. And they are above that mark so far tonight. Grossmont threatening blitz. Smart takes the snap, dropping 3 steps, pumps, and is sacked. First sack of the night for Anthony Sola, the Grossmont freshman linebacker with his 4th of the year, ranked 5th in the league. And Grossmont makes the important stand on third down, but Riverside is threatening to go for it here on 4th and 10. Tigers need the Grossmont 27. 2x2. 4th down. They're going for it. Smart looks left, rolls left, unloads it over the middle, intercepted. Picked off by Deshae Wade, and he's down to the 34-yard line. Buchanan, the tackle, as Stone Smart is picked off for just the 2nd time all season. And that converts with a turnover on downs. Tigers are now 4 for 8 on 4th down, not half bad. But RCC looks like a shell of themselves in the 2nd quarter. Last 2 drives end with a punt and a pick. 3:10 to go in the half. Griffins do have a shot to make this a 1-possession game. Go figure. They have been outscored this year by 19 a contest, mainly against unranked clubs. At dropping with pressure, flips it short. Shipman makes the catch, chest high, yet is smothered immediately by 4 different Bengal-looking hats. Devin Charles was at the bottom of that scrum with under 3 minutes to go in the half. Coming up at the Magnolia Heating and Cooling and Chick-fil-A halftime report, we'll break down the scores from around the CCCAA, along with news from around the league, and even the marching Tigers. This throw is incomplete. Eric Wilson had a chance to transfer out of Fresno State. He had a league-high 8 deflections a year ago. This season has recorded 6. 3rd and 8 for Grossmont. Offense may have struggled to start, but against this pretty solid offense, boy, Riverside has really teed off from Brady at and made him very uncomfortable tonight. 3 receivers for the Griffins on 3rd down, 8 to go. Offset eye, Shipman and Beguile. At is taken down by Nicholas Figueroa. It was as if he was the one who was supposed to take the snap. He just shook right by the protection of Grossmont, and a timeout is called by Riverside with 2:31 to go in the half. A chance for the Tigers to get that offense one more opportunity with a good drive before the half ends. RCC next week in Huntington Beach to tangle the 2-3 Golden West Rustlers. Saturday the 20th at 6 p.m. Rustlers led by Bo Kalbacher, a transfer out of West Texas A&M. 16th in the state, 258 passing yards per game for the Rustlers. So that unit could certainly have a good night against Riverside throwing the ball at home, where the Tigers have certainly been stiff this year. 10-point lead for Riverside, 17-7. Glad you're with us. Make sure to keep it locked. The Magnolia Heating and Cooling and Chick-fil-A halftime report for the Marching Tigers, along with an update from what J.C. Jackson is doing, the former RCC Tiger who played for a couple years at West Virginia and also is now part of that rotation at cornerback with the New England Patriots. Update on Jackson, along with the Marching Tigers in a few minutes. It's the Magnolia Heating and Cooling and Chick-fil-A halftime report momentarily. We have 2:31 to go opening half. Riverside leads Grossmont 17-7. Off the timeout call by Kraft and the Tigers, both Grossmont and Riverside have 1 left. Kennedy stands at his own 30-yard line. Here's the punt from Albertson. He takes it belt high, sends away a line drive. It wobbles end over end, driving back Kennedy. He's got it to the 25, races left 30, 35, 40. Flag is down in the Grossmont backfield as he returns to the 45. Didn't expect a flag to be thrown that far away from the play. Potentially we could see maybe a face mask as one of the Tigers lost their helmets. 2:23 to go in the half, 17-7. RCC took this lead early second quarter. Both teams have exchanged punts and even turnovers since. Holding against the Tigers. All right, Tyler Kennedy, he may have a quick word with his line. I'm sure the coaches will talk about the Tigers too and that protection, but Tyler Kennedy, I'm sure he's fumed. His punt return average has been consistently wiped away because of, and I mean, we all know as much as we want to win football games and play very well, we want our stats too. And Tyler Kennedy, who is a great punt returner, is getting a lot of these returns run back because of bonehead penalties. It would almost be better for RCC to fair catch if they're going to keep holding like this. But the Tigers are still up by 10 with 2:23 to go in the half. RCC is at their own 13. A unit averaging 48 points per game. They're a touchdown waiting to happen. Stone Smart with the Griffins rush of 5. It's a draw. Malik Walker finds some room and is taken down to the second level by Wade. It's a gain of 12 and a Riverside first down. Now the Tigers run up on the ball quickly. 2:16 to go in the half. 2:15, 2:14. Tigers with a no huddle. Second play of this drive is a Stone Smart pass. He looks, he steps up. No, Stone Smart will run. He's over the left hash of the 30 and slides at the 35. That is near first down yardage. They'll mark him at the 36, actually. No, the official wants him to move it back to the 35. Some miscommunication from the crew, and that'll stop the clock with 1:59 to go in the half. This may need a chain measurement. Put some binoculars in there, and it looks like they're short. Second down and inches from their own 35 in a 2-minute drill try for the Tigers. Third play of the drive. Griffins with a dime. Tigers with a 4-receiver set. And they'll run the clock. All right, they're going to move or add a couple seconds. Riverside, third best offense in the state, 508 yards per game for this juggernauts in the Riverside Tigers. And that has been against 3 ranked opponents in number 1 Fullerton, number 16 San Diego Mesa, and number 13 Long Beach. And this run gains 2 in the first down. Tigers dismantled El Camino by 27. Suffered a close loss to number 1 Fullerton in week 2. Blowout against San Bernardino Valley. They racked up 77 in that ball game against the Wolverines. Shutout against Long Beach, and the most recent win against San Diego Mesa. As the throw from Smart is scooped up by way of Kennedy. What a catch at the 50-yard line by Tyler Kennedy. He scooped it up by his fingernails and moves the chains for Riverside. 1:38 to go, 1:37. Tigers from their own 13 have marched quickly to the 50, led by the Northern Arizona transfer Smarts. Low snap. Smart settles for the safety valve. That is Malik Walker underneath, and he is wrapped up with a 47-yard line. Bryson Collins the tackle. 1:20 to go in the half. 1:19, 1:18. Tigers on the move, up 17-7 here opening half. Grossmont with a rush of 4. Stone Smart unloads an outcut left, and it's dropped off the hands left sideline with Piltoff knocking it away from Tyrone Marshall. And that will set up a 3rd down and 8 for Riverside. Tigers can ill afford to give Grossmont any sort of opportunities left with 1:08 to go in the half. Smart will throw off the play action. His pass right side is complete to Beckford with a flag down, and he is tripped up by Andrew Lira with a penalty flag thrown in the Tiger backfield. And we see Malik Walker has his helmet off and is out for a play. 1:01 to go in the half. Hold against Riverside.
Holding against the Tigers.
Tigers significantly improved in penalties this year. With a team as good as Riverside, they are very aggressive and commit quite a few penalties, but this year they only have 60 thrown all year for 485 yards. That is among the leaders in the SCFA, so they have done a much better job in that category. But tonight, it has just been a display of hold after hold with a wide 2x2. 3rd down to 20. Stone Smart against early movement. Shoots it deep, and the pass is dropped with a hit from Derek Sutherland. Whoa. A freshman out of 29 Palms, California. He was supposed to just be a cover man. 4 interceptions to rank 3rd in the state for Derek Sutherland, and that bench is going nuts. That's the thing you hate to see as a wide receiver. You see that ball floating high in the air, allowing the defense to step over, and Sutherland was the one who took an absolute collision on the receiver. I believe that was Tyler Kennedy, who was the recipient of that body blow. 50 seconds to go in the half. Grossmont down 10 with 1 timeout, has a long field, so they certainly have Most likely an overwhelming talk from the sideline to just take a knee and go into the half. Down by 10. Grossmont will kick off to start the third quarter. Maybe they take one shot. Who knows? Grossmont breaks the huddle, and they do look as though they'll set up in a formation to throw. Jacob Siegfried, the freshman quarterback, started a majority of the year, but the Griffins have gone with Brady Add, a freshman signal caller out of Houston, Texas. Solid first half effort for the first-year player, as we see Christopher Beguile take that run and gain a couple. But mainly for the Griffins, it's been their defense that have kept them in the ball game. Or they were simply a porous group. They were the worst scoring defense, total defense, pass and run defense in this conference. But today, they have done a very good job playing maybe their best football half of the year in slowing down the Tigers. But Guile takes the straight-ahead run and is down to the 19, an 8-yard pickup on what most likely, and it is the final snap of the first half. All right, no, they're going to run up quickly. 2 seconds. 1, 0. Snap is back. No whistles. Brady Add is looking, and he is taken down. Jose Ramirez with a sack to end the half.
The Riverside City College Tigers, 17. The Grossmont Griffins, correction, 7. It's halftime.
Yeah, there it is. 2 quarters complete, and Riverside leads Grossmont 17-7. The Marching Tigers are on the field as of now, getting ready for their rendition. Make sure to watch the entire halftime rendition along with some scores and notables from around the SCFA and the Central and Southern League when we return. This is Tigers football on RCC Athletics at rccfootball.com. Here are the Marching Tigers for their halftime performance.
I think he's going to make the team. He's looking okay.
gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, we are pleased to present one of the truly elite college marching bands in the country. They have performed all over Europe, Canada, Japan, Australia, and throughout the United States. They have appeared in virtually every major pageantry event, including the Bands of America Grand National Championships, Tournament of Roses Parade, New Year's Day parades in London, Rome, and Paris, and this fall will make their third appearance at the famous Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. They have entertained at Disney theme parks in Anaheim, Orlando, Tokyo, and Paris. You've seen them in nearly 30 television shows like The Office, Lip Sync Battle, and recently an episode of Modern Family. These college performers have filmed over 20 motion pictures, including the American Pie film, Princess Diaries 2, and last fall appeared with stars Steve Carell and Emma Stone in Battle of the Sexes. They've also been featured in numerous music videos with artists like Travis Barker, System of a Down, and even Weird Al. The Associated Students and Department of Performing Arts proudly present the official band of the city of Riverside. Please welcome the RCC Marching Tigers. This fall, the Marching Tigers present a show inspired by the magic of master illusionist and magnificent manipulator Harry Houdini, the King of Cards. It's a program entitled Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Part 1 features woodwind trio Elena Funk on clarinet, Alex Batista and Claire Bryant on flute, and features the music Discombobulate from Sherlock Holmes by Hans Zimmer, and main titles from Now You See Me 2 by Brian Tyler. And let's not forget about our very own magician, the amazing, the wonderful, the fabulous Esteban Sabas. Part 2 will again feature soloist Claire Bryant on flute on the Bridget Wiggins version of I Put a Spell on You. And in Part 3, we'll close tonight featuring our amazing percussion section in our version of Codex by Zed. Ladies and gentlemen, under the direction of drum majors Manny Gonzalez and Johnny Streety, here are the RCC Marching Tigers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show. It is my pleasure to introduce the one, the only, the great Houdini!
Ladies and gentlemen, the RCC Marching Tigers. The RCC band director is James Lucio. Music specialist is Kurt Kilgus. The RCC drum majors are Manny Gonzalez and Johnny Freedy. The Marching Tigers would like to thank Martin Michelle Milano, Jessica Arthur, Krista Hahn, Mikey and Lisa McFarland, David Logan Levitt, Gary Wagner, Carolyn, John Hatter, Mike Nicholas, Ray Gardner, the RCC Marching Tigers Alumni Association, and Captain Griffins and Mary Steele Law. The Marching Tigers performance is Saturday, October 20th, right here at
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Benny the Bengal Tiger.
Thank you for joining us here from Wheelock Stadium in Riverside, California for what was a sensational first half. Riverside leads Grossmont 17-7. Also a shout out to the Marching Tigers for their performance through what was a great start to their preparation for another great year of marching season. And that rendition was quite something to watch. We got another rendition going on right now, but let's take a look around the SCFA as the Hornets, the #1 team in the state, took care of business with a win. They had to squeak out down the stretch, a 35-25 victory over Cerritos. Chris Jensen and Quinn Comans combined for 340 yards passing in the win, but the Hornets went scoreless for the final 36 minutes of the game. #2 Canyons with a 36-3 beatdown over Moore Park on the road. And that was the Wyatt Eggett performance. He was 26 of 33 at quarterback for Canyons, 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. RCC is the #3 team in the state, leads 17-7 over Grossmont tonight. #4 Butte College rolls Feather River 42-14, led by 604 yards of offense. That team averaged 8.8 yards of play. So the #4 team in the state, Buttes, certainly making a case for being the best team in Northern California. Then #5 Ventura at the half on the road leads Bakersfield 10-3. Let's take a look around the top 25 in all of college football as we saw some stunning upsets tonight. Unranked Tennessee knocked off the Auburn Tigers 30-24. We saw Michigan State dismantle James Franklin and Penn State 21-17. Penn State, their hopes of reaching the college football playoff most likely have just evaporated. The #2 team in the country, Georgia, or they were, at least their offense, nowhere to be found in Baton Rouge this afternoon. A 36-13 annihilation of Georgia. LSU got it going with their star run game. They had 145 yards out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and overall, LSU just pounded Georgia in the mouth. Well, it was an impressive performance for them, one of many upsets in the college football season. We also saw Texas A&M avoid a scare against South Carolina. Ohio State, off a slow start, beat Minnesota. Number 1 Alabama took care of business against Missouri. Virginia upsets number 16 Miami 16-13, and currently underway, number 12 Michigan. They have righted all the doubters for at least this week in Ann Arbor as they hold a 38-7 lead over number 15 Wisconsin. Number 5 Notre Dame with a narrow win over Pittsburgh. Florida beat Vanderbilt 37-27. Number 9 Texas, they squeaked by the win against Baylor 23-17. In overtime, number 17 Oregon beats Washington 30-27. Central Florida is still the best team of the group of 5 with a 31-31 over Memphis. And Iowa State, they have defeated West Virginia 30-14. The number 6 Mountaineers go down in a heap. Also tonight from Los Angeles, Southern California faces number 19 Colorado. Also an update for Tigers currently on the next level. Riverside's J.C. Jackson almost quit football after his 2-year stint at RCC, but gutted out a few years at West Virginia and made the New England Patriots roster as a rookie. He was the only undrafted free agent to do so in 2018. Then in the first of the most recent 2-game win streak, he recorded his first career deflection and interception against the Miami Dolphins. Way to go, J.C. Jackson, representing Riverside strong as, without a doubt, the best performance of the last couple weeks. Riverside up 17-7 here from Grossmont. Third quarter coming up just next. That was the Chick-fil-A and Magnolia Heating and Cooling halftime report. Sweats.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with the second half between the Grossmont Griffins and your Riverside City College Tigers. Don't forget, they've got some great apparel down there in the snack bar area.
All right, and we're back for what should be an exciting second half. That was the Chick-fil-A and Magnolia Heating and Cooling halftime report. Nick Rice on hand. Through 2 quarters, Riverside, they had 275 yards of offense. Grossmont was held to 93. The Griffins, since that touchdown drive, had 22 plays for 18 yards. That Riverside defense is for real. After that performance against Fullerton, they have had a great 4-game stretch, and it has continued into conference play. Here's the kickoff from Ethan Albertson as Grossmont comes in 0-5 on the season, but boy, they have put together a good half on defense themselves. Kickoff for the 2-yard line on the return. Here is Tyler Kennedy, who bounces off tackles ahead to the 29-yard line. Stone Smart, a transfer out of Northern Arizona, a quarterback who leads the state in pass efficiency in his first year with the Tigers. He takes the field at signal caller. 12-19 throughout the first half for Stone Smart. 152 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, but he did have 30 yards rushing on 8 carries. His go-to target, Tyrone Marshall, 3 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown. He is in the ball game for Riverside, joining Houston and Kennedy as the 3 wide. Marshall lines up left slot. At the 29, they begin with a gut run, and Wimbish is taken down at the line of scrimmage. For those of you joining us, this could be a good time to maybe get involved if you're watching on RCC Athletics. Be more than happy to chime in with any of your comments, concerns, questions. I'd love to answer them throughout the second half of this broadcast. The conference opener between Riverside and Grossmont. Here is Wimbish who breaks a tackle. A foot race to the 50. Lira slows him down and makes the stop at the 42-yard line. Wimbish rips off a huge run. It's a pickup for the freshman of 29 yards. Incredible performance for this run game tonight. RCC with an average after 123 yards rushing of almost 6 yards a rush. Off the motion from Marshall, here's the run to Wimbish, and go figure, as soon as I rave about the run game, Grossmont makes the tackle for loss. Led by number 34, that is Dylan Helmholtz, sophomore out of Lakeside, California. Just underway, third quarter, just about a minute and a half in, with Riverside up 17-7. Tigers scoring on consecutive scoring drives of 71 yards, 52 yards, and 53 yards. But they really slowed down towards the tail end of the half. Wide 2x2 at the Grossmont 42. Smart flips it outright. Marshall makes his fourth catch of the ball game and takes a tumble on second effort to the 36-yard line. The tackle by way of Kyler Peralt, a sophomore out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Riverside started this drive at their own 29-yard line. They have advanced to the 35 of the Griffins. Riverside, a team that leads the league at 48 points per game, looking for that knockout punch on offense to start the second half. Walker flanks Smart in a wide 2x2 for a team in Grossmont this year. They have been a poultry defense, over 40 points per game allowed. Tigers are looking to close them out. Here's a run over left guard to Wimbish, or rather to Walker, and he crawls ahead to the 32-yard line, gain of 4. Grossmont started the ball game with an incredible drive. 11 plays, 75 yards in 6 minutes, 14 seconds. Handoff Walker, and he is tripped up on 4th and shorts. Riverside turns it over on downs. Now the Tigers are 0 for 2 on 4th downs of the ball game. To go along with the interception from Stone Smart since the early part of the second quarter, I just think that the Tigers are fighting complacency. You know, the number one team in the state, Fullerton, earlier today at home, they didn't score in the final 34 minutes of their game against Cerritos, a 35-25 win. Here it's 17-7, Riverside. And that was a short run from Bugoyer. Christian Swint made the tackle. As we have played 3 minutes here into the third quarter, 17-7 Riverside. Tigers began the second half with the football, had a solid start to the drive, but then faltered on 4th and shorts. With an offset eyes under center, play action. The freshman from Houston fires a seam route. Cravens makes the catch, has left to the 40, and is wrestled down by 3 Tigers, Wilson, Viramontes, and Fitzgerald, at the 35 of Riverside. Wilton Cravens, who was quiet in the first half, he had 0 catches throughout the first 30 minutes, reels it in, and loose the chains does the redshirt sophomore out of Kahuku, Hawaii. 2 catches last year. He has 15 now in 5.5 games. 11:36 to go third quarter. It's 17-7 Riverside. Grossmont has a chance to trim the lead to 1 possession with a score here. Brady at the throw. Fires down the right sideline into coverage. It's underthrown and nearly intercepted. Mannery was covering Rosar and may have just been flagged with a pass interference. The sophomore from San Jacinto, California. Here's the call.
Pass interference, number 2, defense, grab and restrict. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now here's one thing for the RCC defense that I'm sure during the bye week they talked about, as we see Isaac Atteen checking the ball game for Riverside as one of the safeties. The Tigers have recorded as a defense just 4 interceptions all year. 11:21 to go here, third quarter. Appears that a false start will be the signal. So the takeaways may do a better job.
Number 11 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Matthew Linton, the guilty party. those interceptions and even the fumble recoveries, they have 7 of those. They're doing a good job of that department. But in the secondary, they're giving up a lot of big chunk plays. They're allowing almost 300 yards per game passing is this RCC secondary. So they are giving up some momentum throwing the ball, and they only have 4 interceptions. Att throws another lob, this time to the left corner, and it's out of bounds. Wilson with blanket coverage intended for Matthew Linton, no penalty flag. Brady Att in that first half, 6 of 14 for 55 yards. But that is above his season completion rate of 38 on the year. 11:16 to go third quarter, another penalty thrown. In the first half, we saw 15 penalties thrown for 176 yards.
Number 17 of the defense, dead ball. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Well, it's obvious the officials are playing this one tough. It is hard to say that a lot of these penalties aren't looked at with a Grossmont slant. The Tigers have been penalized now 11 times for 166 yards. But Guile takes the handoff over left tackle, and he surges for a 2-yard gain. Certainly not advocating anything, but this has been a tightly officiated contest. But Riverside, they just can't seem to catch a break. They'll bring in Christian Swint to provide some extra help in the secondary. Mitchell Agood is in there as well at linebacker for the Tigers, joined by Kobe Fitzgerald and a team that stacks 8 in the box, run to Beguile, dances to the hole, and a smother to the line of scrimmage. That'll set up a 3rd and 10 at the Riverside 12-yard line. Credit to Grossmont for keeping this game close. They have done a sensational job with their ability to run the ball and play good defense. And this team, especially on that opening drive when Jarius Burnett ran in for the touchdown, they are doing a pretty good job in that rushing efforts. For tailbacks in the first half, the Griffins were averaging 3 yards a carry. So that is very serviceable against the run defense of the Tigers that is 4th in the conference. Play action. Att is in trouble, unloads into coverage, and it's incomplete. Rosar did have a step in the end zone as the pass was wobbling in short. Tigers brought the blitz at the opportune time, and now Grossmont brings out the field goal. Riverside seems to struggle against one team, and that is Grossmont's. Griffins won 3 straights against the Tigers before that 2015 31-29 victory, and here they are in another close one. Albertson, the line drive field goal, and the kick is good. Tigers look strong late in the first half, but the Griffins hung out on defense, and now a field goal to start the third quarter has trimmed the lead. Riverside 17, Grossmont 10. With 10:05 left to go, third quarter. We've got a ball game, folks, between number 3 Riverside and unranked 0-5 Grossmont's. And it just seems to be the one team that has their number. That was for years. RCC had the edge over Ventura. That seemed to be the team, no matter where they played or how they played. RCC can always know when they play Ventura, they're just going to have a great game on offense and beat them. For some reason, Grossmont, they always seem to have their best defensive games against the Tigers. Whether it's coaching, whether it's matchups, Grossmont just plays Riverside very, very well. They still lead by 3, and the Tigers, this explosive offense is overdue for a score. Let's see if they can have it here. Ethan Albertson at the 35-yard line walks into the football. Now runs and sends it down the field, end over end, taken on a hop at the 5-yard line. Kennedy, 10, 15, 20. Kennedy with a convoy, 25, 30. No flag down. Kennedy is loose. 50, 40, 30. Down the right sideline, and Kennedy is tracked down at the 16-yard line by Andrew Lira, who made the touchdown-saving tackle. The PA announcer knows it. Kennedy gets the number for the huge kickoff return. It's a run back of 77 yards. As they back it up from the 16 to the 18, 75 yards. Nevertheless, 9:53 left to go here in the third quarter. Riverside's got a golden opportunity in the red zone to score. In the first half, they were 3 for 3 in red zone scores, chipping in a field goal late, but had 2 touchdowns. 8-yard throw from Smart to Marshall and an 8-yard run from the sophomore Malik Walker. Tigers bring in Buchanan to spell Walker, but they'll line up in a loaded pistol as number 29, Gabriel Clark, is one of the two pistol backs alongside Kane Villemue. But now RCC backs up 5 with an infraction. Penalty number 12 against the Tigers, 6 against Grossmont. Handoff, squeaking right is Clark. No, Buchanan. It's a short game. Now Riverside brings in some substitutions. Villemue checks out along with Clark. Buchanan in there. Smith joins Beckford right in a wide 2x2. Marshall Kennedy left. Smart changes the play. He was 12 of 19 for 152 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Belt high, snap, inside run Buchanan, dances right. He's down to the 15. Cut down by Lira, who has had a strong ball game so far for Grossmont. He has recorded 3 tackles and also has been involved pass rushing so far today.
43 on the tackle for Grossmont.
9:02 to go third quarter. Riverside, their first drive ended with a 3 and outs. Grossmont does use a timeout with head coach Michael Jordan, no relation to the former Chicago Bull, Michael Jordan. One of the great players in the history of the NBA. LeBron James is now with the Lakers, may have something to say about Michael Jordan's his thoughts of being the best player in the history of the NBA. So, as we are nearing the midway point of the third quarter, glad you're with us, Tigers football, RCC Athletics, and RCCFootball.net. Let's take a look at the remaining schedule for Riverside. They battled 2-3 Golden West in Huntington Beach next week, a pretty good club. Riverside has beat them 2 straight times, and Golden West, they are having some tough years, back-to-back losing seasons. Their last conference title came in 2013. Then they've got number 9 Southwestern. They just joined this conference, and for those of you not aware of the Jaguars, Southwestern, before they joined this conference, won back-to-back American Mountain League championships. They won a bowl game last year, and over the last 3 seasons, they are 22-5. Very good football program in Southwestern out of Costa Mesa. 3rd down and 7. Stone Smart looks left, steps up, throws. It's caught on the knees by Tyrone Marshall. He was sitting right near the markers. They needed the 7. Oh, they'll push it back to about, no, they needed the 8. Bad angle here from the press box. He's at about the 9. So that's 4th and short coming up for Riverside. 0 for 2 are the Tigers on 4th down tonight, so they'll bring out the field goal team. John Garibay. He was about as efficient as any field goal kicker in the SCFA as the freshman, but now is just 3 for 5 as a sophomore in field goals. This can get him back into that conversation. Kettle the hold, Matute the snap, the kick from Garibay is up and good. He squeaked it inside that right upright, and the Tigers are back up by 2 scores. Riverside 20, Grossmont 10 in a slugfest midway through the third quarter. To close out Riverside's schedule, they will hit the road for their conference season finale against Orange Coast, who has been pretty bad this year. They have just won 1 of their last 9 games and is on pace for their 3rd straight losing season. Then they conclude against the Gauchos of Saddleback, who are 2-3 right now. They were 8-3 a year ago, and 2 of those 3 losses came to Fullerton. Over the last 4 years, they were 29-11 before this most recent losing stint. Last state championship appearance in 2015. So they are capable of making the state title, but they have gone on some tough times as Saddleback. That is RCC's season finale. Then they are looking across the CCAA. Teams that could potentially be in their way for the Tigers, we will talk about in a moment. Here's the kickoff from Garibay. It's taken at the 5-yard line. Burnett to the 10, springs left to the 20, and he is walloped. Converge to the 24-yard line by number 45, Manu Ta, freshman from Chula Vista, California, former first-team All-Defensive Metro Mesa Conference player a year ago. It was Riverside potentially in the SCFA playoffs. We could be looking at number 1 Fullerton, who picked up a victory today over Cerritos. They're now 6-0. Number 2 Canyons is 6-0 as well. They won in a beatdown over Moore Park, 36-3, that pass incomplete. And now Ventura, if they're able to hold on to that halftime lead, they are on their way to 5-1, currently up 10-3 over Bakersfield. So Fullerton, Canyons, and Ventura are the other 3 teams. Fullerton and Canyons lead their respective conferences. Then you've got Ventura and Mount San Antonio, who's 4-1 right now. They're ranked as the number 8 team in the state. Then other potential threats, if Southwestern plays well in this game, maybe they can sneak into the playoffs as a wild card. And then you've got also rounding out teams that could potentially be in that conversation for representing the SCFA in the postseason. Could be a team Riverside beat in San Diego Mesa, who are 4-1 coming into tonight and hold a lead over El Camino. Midway third quarter, Grossmont faces 3rd and 9 at their own 26-yard line left hash. Brady Add against the offset eyes, pressured, hit as he throws, intercepted by Kua Olotoa, and Linton makes the tackle at the 22-yard line. The pressure by Jose Ramirez. He leads the league in sacks, and he forced the interception as Olotoa's got his first of the year. The freshman out of Anaheim was Johnny on the spot for the wayward throw from Brady Atz. And now the Griffins turn it over. Up by 10, Riverside takes over on offense. Their defense has given up a couple mulligans, and even the special teams return of 75 from Tyler Kennedy. They need a score down here to get some momentum going into next week's road visit to Golden West. Tigers set up just outside the red zone. They begin with the play action. Stone Smart is in trouble, holding it on with the left hand, shovels it ahead. Kennedy's at the 10 and is taken out at the 7.
Stone Smart, number 4, the quarterback.
Stone Smarts. That looked like Patrick Mahomes against Denver, where he shoveled the pass with his offhand. And the Tigers have got a first down. It's 1st and goal at the 9. Yeah, they'll move it up to the 8-yard line. 7:10 left to go in the 3rd. Riverside a chance to close the door on the Grossmont comeback try. He takes the snap, looks left, shuffles, throws underneath. Crossing route to Kennedy. The tackle by Piltoff was a short gain. Solid performance tonight for Preston Piltoff, who has just made his 4th tackle of the night. His 17th of the year. He also has 2 picks and 6 deflections. 2nd and goal at the 6-yard line. On the left hash. Walker in the backfield alongside Stone Smarts. Jamal Houston, Tyler Kennedy, and Tyrone Marshall, the 3 receivers for Riverside against the Grossmont defense lined up in a dime. Chris McDonough is the linebacker against this tight 2x2. Beckford is slot right. Smart stands in the pocket. He'll tuck it and run. He's got the edge, but Jenkins jars the ball loose. There's a fumble at the 4-yard line. Traquan Jenkins came in off the blind side. Did the sophomore out of Somerville, South Carolina. It was a forced fumble, but recovered by the quarterback. That'll set up a 3rd and goal. Tigers go no huddle. Wide 2x2, spreading out the Grossmont dime defense. And now Smart will change the play. Late 3rd quarter, it's 20-10 Riverside. And this drive started at the 25 of Grossmont off the interception from Kua Olotoa, a freshman out of Anaheim. Mick Rice and Hand Tigers football here from Wheelock Stadium, where they have never lost in conference home games under Tom Kraft. Timeout, Tom Kraft.
Riverside, 1st of the half, 2 remaining.
This is the number 3 team in the state of California, and they are having their hands full against the Grossmont Griffins. Just another reminder, you can get involved, for those of you involved in tuning in to the RCC Athletics YouTube page, where you can talk about what you're concerned about, questions, comments, any sort of thoughts about this football team or about anything in general, you can get involved and stay locked in to RCC football by commenting on the RCC Athletics YouTube page with our live stream. We're also streaming on rccathletics.net, CCCAAsports.net, and all of our affiliates. Tonight's game presented by Chick-fil-A and Magnolia Heating and Cooling. Glad you're a part of what has been a terrific beginning of the 2018 year for RCC. A club that has made 4 of the last 8 SCFA championship games. Stone Smart's looking end zone. Throws towards Beckford back shoulder. It's incomplete. Good coverage by Andrew Lira. Here, there in the end zone. Field goal unit is coming on. You wouldn't know it when you saw it, but the Griffins are the worst pass defense in this league. They're bottom 3 in the entire state. Riverside just can't seem to crack the code, especially in the red zone. But Garibay has given them points with field goals. Garrett Kettle will put it down. It's a bit low on the snap. Line drive field goal attempt from Garibay is good. So he certainly has improved his average tonight as the sophomore from Rubidoux. Riverside 23, Grossmont 10 on the PAT, distanced extra point from John Garibay. So the Tigers, in still just a 2-possession ball game, will have to bring their defense back out there. Sloppy performance overall for Riverside. They are getting points, but it just doesn't feel like anywhere near as effective a performance as we saw against San Diego Mesa just last time they played. Riverside racked up about 500 yards of offense. They're 3rd in the state in total offense this year, but only picked up 275 so far tonight. Kickoff from Garibay again, and a 23-10 lead for Riverside. They have outscored Grossmont 6-0 since the intermission. Garibay, the run-up. Here's the line drive kickoff. It wobbles and is taken by Andrew Lear on a hop. Heads left to the 10, gets a good block by Shipman, then is stacked up at the 16-yard line. Terrific block from Fabius Shipman. The sophomore came on the blind side and laid the collision on Jose Ramirez going after the ball carrier there. But Grossmont will have a long field nonetheless. 5:17 to go third quarter. Riverside 23, Grossmont 10. Griffins led 7-0. Then the Tigers scored 17 unanswered. Grossmont hit a field goal to start the third quarter. Then 2 straight chip shot kicks from John Garibay. He's 3 of 3 on kicks tonight on field goals. And 5 of 7 this year. At throws the slant, Cravens the catch, spins, then gets drilled. Victor Viramontes. That's a D1 level hit for the sophomore from Norco. Hard to believe that, I mean, it's hard enough to be a Division I athlete at one position. He was committed to California and Minnesota as a quarterback out of high school and college. He switches the linebacker, having not played that in years. And in his first season, he's now getting recruited by 4 different Division I schools, SMU, TCU, Missouri, and Louisville. I mean, that is almost impossible to do, especially from those 2 positions, quarterback to linebacker. It's one thing to go from linebacker to, say, corner, because you're on the same side or doing the same type of things. He does say that he's like a quarterback of that defense, which is certainly a testament to his, not only his athleticism, toughness, what have you, but also his intellect and his wherewithal, knowing that with the Golden Gophers in Minnesota, the place that he was expected to potentially play there in that Big 10 conference, he was thinking about maybe being their starting quarterback. But after being listed after spring ball as the 3rd stringer, he decided to move back to Riverside where he's comfortable, change positions, and know that he may not garner as much attention being a linebacker, but he's going to play more and is going to do more, because here we are, Victor Viramontes. He has just been on a collision with a ball carrier. He has picked up tonight 7 tackles. He's got 32 this year, and by the time that this season is done, we may hear Victor Viramontes as one of the premier defenders moving on to Division I football. And whoever grabs him will be lucky. Deep drop, Brady unloads it deep. Back shoulder, it's incomplete. Linton the target. The coverage by number 9, Johnny Williams. Redshirt freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. He had 4 picks as a senior at Baldwin High School and nearly had his first as a Tiger, but it was there for the deflection. That'll set up 3rd and 10 for Grossmont. We have seen a couple of Florida kids get involved in tonight's ball game. DeQuante Showers was the other one, a Jacksonville guy. 14 D1 offers coming out of Northern Florida, 3-star athlete. Offers from Appalachian State, Colorado, and Western Kentucky. He's a highly touted recruit. Deep drop rolls right, being pressured, throws off his back foot, and the pass is juggled and dropped by Isaac Ateen. He's out of Auburndale, Florida, and a transfer from West Virginia Wesleyan. So go figure, we've seen Florida kids dominate the Southern California game. 3 of them making plays just in the last quarter and a half. 4:27 to play here in the third. 23-10 Riverside. Kennedy returned a kickoff 75 yards earlier in this half. He's back at the 30 to retrieve the punt from the same kickoff man. It's the punter, Ethan Albertson. Low snap, and the freshman out of Mount Carmel in San Diego sends it. It's wide and past the reach of Kennedy. That was a dangerous shot where Kennedy almost had it bounce off his chest. Instead, it rolls with the 20 and is down there by Kyler Peraltz. Riverside 80 yards away from what could be the knockout punch with RCC up by 2 scores. Again, glad you're with us. Here, RCC Athletics at rccfootball.net is the site for this broadcast. And for all of you joining us tonight, we certainly appreciate the fine folks who make this thing possible. The fans, the behind-the-scenes crew, and all who are involved in making this football team as good as they are. They're the number 3 team in the state of California. I mean, people just don't understand how hard it is to have this level of consistency in any level of football. As the Tigers, we see a run of 4, 81 of 14 under Tom Kraft. They've won 85% of their games. This is Patriots-esque. This is Alabama-esque. This is, Allen High School in Texas, St. John Bosco High School in California-esque. They are just such a juggernaut for so many years. Smart swings it right. It's a bubble screen, and it's dropped by Marshall. Jarred loose by Sutherland, who's a good defender. Freshman from 29 Palms, California. He may be a D1 kid in the future. With 3:59 to go in the third quarter, Riverside up 23-10. Tigers face 3rd and 6. They have made 8 consecutive conference championships. They have also appeared in 4 SCFA title games, 2 in a row. And Riverside's got quite the future with Tom Kraft this year. Wide 2x2 for the Tigers yet again. 3rd and 7. Deep drop. The throw is caught. Here's Beckford left side, and he is wrestled down by Piltoff of the 30. We have seen all the receivers make big plays tonight. Tyrone Marshall, Jamal Houston, Kayvon Beckford, Xavier Marshall, Tyler Kennedy. We just saw Beckford make another catch. And the star, DeQuante Showers, was also a big recipient on a couple throws earlier in the first half. He'll line up at the right slots. Marshall is there as well. 2 wide to the left, and Almonte Smith, one of them out there along with Shelton. Kane Villamue will check in his place as the Tigers have moved the chains on a 3rd and shorts. Villamue yet to make a catch, but he's the tight end left. Go figure, he might get involved later. Spinning his Wimmish as he shed the would-be tackle of Taylor Malame and wound up getting 3 on the play. And there's also some chatter after the whistle. Grossmont bringing in some substitutions. Boy, Riverside, they are going nuts on the boundary here. Tigers getting tired of this being a 2-possession game. 2:45 to go here, third quarter. 23-10. Riverside. Stone Smart off the play action. Looks deep. Fires over the middle. It's caught. There's DeQuante Showers again, and he is wrapped up at the 50. He has been the go-to target for Smart since the first quarter. as he's made his second catch. 5'9", 175-pounder out of Jacksonville. 2:26 to go here, third quarter. Tigers on the move, up 23-10. Wide 2x2, seventh play of the drive. Riverside to throw, play action Smart. Look, showers lay, pumps, rolls left, pressure, tucks and runs out of bounds off the gain of 3. All right, Stone Smart was a rotational starter a year ago in the Big Sky at the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks in Flagstaff. But since transferring, he has gone from a rotational starter to maybe the best quarterback in the country, as he leads the state right now in pass efficiency and has thrown 15 touchdowns. Looking for another that would seal this one here in the third quarter, at least you would assume, with Riverside up 23-10. 1:55 to go third quarter. Riverside on the move, converting a third down earlier. They've now got second down and 7. Stone Smart play action. He finds a seam, shovels it, swinging right side Wimbish, races by one defender, then is upended by Lira at the 43-yard line. Quincy Wimbish has been a good check down target for Riverside's Stone Smarts. Fourth in the state at 67% completion rate is Smart, and it's those type of throws that make him so effective, because as a scrambling quarterback, it's easy to take off and run on those type of plays, but he has the wherewithal to throw it to an open man and let him take the punishment. Stone Smart on a rush of 4, shoots it deep, knocked up in the air off the helmet of Houston, and it's incomplete. Nearly picked off at the second level by Piltoff, but that was a freak play. Jamal Houston had it ricochet off what looked to be his helmet, maybe his shoulder pad, and the pass is incomplete. The epitome of this type of ball game. It just appears some of the flags and bounces aren't going the Tigers' way. Garibay out there to punt. Go figure. They score 47 against Long Beach, 49 against San Diego Mesa. They score 77 against San Bernardino Valley, but they have just 2 field goals in the second half tonight. Here's the Garibay punt, line drive to the 20, and it rolls out the reach of Arasut at around the 15-yard line. 1:08 to go third quarter. RCC up 23-10. Yes, 15-yard line is the spots. RCC, just a reminder, is in Huntington Beach next Saturday to tangle with the Rustlers of 2-3 Golden West. Meanwhile, Grossmont plays a team that RCC will play their next live stream at in a couple weeks, as they will tangle with Southwestern. Just a reminder for those CIF fans who are wanting to keep tabs of maybe the game of the year in the regular season. St. John Bosco leads 20-10 over Mater Dei. That game that should have been played yesterday is today because of the lightning delay. We have no rain here at Riverside, but some overcast clouds for a primetime contest here between RCC and Grossmont. Less than a minute to play in the third quarter. Riverside 23, Grossmont 10. Tigers 2 field goals second half, Grossmont with 1. In what has been a slugfest, we also saw a Kua Olatoa interception, which was one of the few big plays. Huge kickoff return, rather. Fumbled snap let it loose, and the Tigers recover. Jose Ramirez, the transfer from Arizona, picks it up. And Riverside's in the red zone again. Can they punch it in? Just a quick update from the Southern League. Golden West in the conference opener leads 24-7 midway through the fourth quarter in Costa Mesa against Orange Coast. And here's RCC after the fumble recovery from Ramirez and the third turnover of the ball game for Grossmont. They are in the red zone at the Grossmont 14. Walker takes the handoff, cuts to the 10, and spins to the 8. Sutherland with the tackle.
There is a penalty flag on the field.
Saddleback leads Southwestern at the end of the third quarter, 25-7. So one interesting notable, if that game goes final, is that Southwestern will be bumped back out of the top 10, and that could really put a damper on RCC's hopes to climb up the rankings, because it's one of those things. If you play in a weaker conference, this could be a situation where if a Canyons and a Fullerton wins out, no matter how many points the Tigers win by, if they don't play teams that different voters rank as top 3, top 5, whatever, then it's hard to gain a resume good enough to be garnered as the #1 team in the States. RCC may play like it, but right now, with 15 minutes to play here from Wheelock Stadium, at the end of the third quarter, it's Riverside 23, Grossmont 10. Make sure to stick around for the fourth quarter, some game updates around the league, also a trip around the SCFA in general. That and more coming up in the fourth quarter here from Wheelock. Riverside 23, Grossmont 10. This is Tigers football and RCC Athletics and rccfootball.net.
Left stereo. Yeah, it's all. Since there's 2 ports, right? It's only coming out. Like if you put headphones on, you can't really hear it. Sucks. So if someone's watching, actually, I think that's been every. And they don't have the left headphone in or the left speaker plugged in, they can't hear it off. Dang. So then they're like, my speakers are not working. Jeez. Let them think that.
Welcome back for all of you right speaker listening fans. Here's Walker on the run. He gets to the corner, hits off his own blocker, but bounces into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. I joke about all of you right speaker listening fans because I believe that's the only speaker that we are broadcasting tonight out of, but nonetheless, Riverside scores, punching it in from the red zone, and most likely gives themselves a chance to win the ball game. Left, right or left, one of them's working, one of them might not. Low extra point try is good as he squeaks it in, and the Tigers lead 30-10 over Grossmont.
The Grossmont Griffins 10.
From where all of you are watching, you might be here in Riverside, you might be across the country, you might be in the stands. We appreciate all of the viewership tonight as the #3 team in the state, Riverside, holds a 20-point lead over Grossmont 30-10 to start the fourth quarter. Malik Walker scoring his second touchdown of the ball game, his 7th of the year, 6 foot 190 out of Corona. And he is, because of this loaded backfield, he's sneaky. But he is certainly capable of running the football for a Division I school in the near future. Garibay to kick off as we begin the fourth quarter. We appreciate all of the different people involved. Also chiming in on RCC Athletics YouTube page and RCC Athletics and Football.net. Garibay's high kickoff, towering, fair catch made to the 5-yard line. That'll push it ahead to the touchback range. Andrew Lira was the one who fair caught it, freshman from El Cajon. Grossmont will battle the #9 team in the state in Southwestern, but right now the Jaguars are getting hammered by Saddleback. The Gauchos, who I just talked about as a team struggling all year to find their rhythm, they're 2-3, but they lead 25-7 in Costa Mesa over Southwestern, and also in the National Southern League. It's midway through the third quarter, and Golden West leads on the road 24-7. This pass is incomplete.
That pass intended for number 25 is incomplete.
Getting a quick update from the Golden West and Orange Coast game. It's 24-7 Golden West. It appears that Golden West is on, does not have the football. If I'm not mistaken, that's Orange Coast. Getting the quick shout out, Sportsnet USA covering that contest as we see the run from
Ball taken there by number 30.
Jarius Burnett.
He's tackled there by number 30. And then Charles brings up a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Corrected
3rd and 9 for Grossmont, who are 2 for 9 on 3rd down of the first half. 35% this year, ranked 4th in the conference. And go figure tonight, Grossmont has played very well. As we see Golden West, quick update there, intercepted pass in the end zone that clinches the win over Orange Coast. At's pass on a seam route is juggled and nearly intercepted. That time knocked away by Terry Victor, the transfer from Washington State.
Number 4, Victor Terry.
And that brings up a 4th down. The 3rd down defense for Riverside has been incredible. A minute gone by 4th quarter. RCC is up 30-10. And here's the punt. Ethan Albertson checks in the ball game for Grossmont. So after this play, I'll give you a quick conference standings update because with both of the ball games essentially insurmountable leads for both clubs, I'll give you the standings that will happen after today, given the scores stand. Tyler Kennedy returns for the 25, gets a good block 30, 35-40, gets by the way 50, 40. Here is Kennedy again, 30, 20, and with no flag down, he is to the 16-yard line. He ran a kickoff for 75 yards. He runs back a punt for 52 yards. And the Tigers are in the red zone again, this time hoping to punch it into the end zone. As promised, this is the conference standings, given this game stands and also the other games go final, and we don't see huge comebacks in any of them. Riverside, Golden West, and Saddleback will all be 1-0 in the conference. So a battle of undefeateds will take place in Huntington Beach next week between 1-0 in the conference, Riverside, and 1-0 in the conference, Golden West. Should be interesting. 3 receivers, Tigers set up in the red zone at the 18 of Grossmont. Buchanan takes the handoff and is dropped quickly, pulled down by DeChelle Johnson, the sophomore from Spring Valley, California, after a short pickup. 13:40 left to go here in the 4th quarter, 30-10. Riverside. Tigers, it was a slugfest, certainly not pretty on offense, but Tyler Kennedy has exploded on special teams tonight and has given Riverside multiple shots inside the red zone. 75-yard kickoff return, 52-yard punt return. He's had a couple of over 30-yard returns that have been called back by penalties. Well, he has just fooled this Griffins special teams. 3 receivers. Single to Bright, Jamal Houston on 2nd and 10 in the red zone. Buchanan rips one loose, and he's gone. 18 yards. Touchdown, Tigers.
That's number 26, Eric Buchanan to the zone.
And Buchanan, the freshman, scores his first touchdown of the year. And Riverside turns the slugfest into a rout. 36-10 with the extra point pending. So Golden West has beaten Orange Coast 24-7 while they lead it with just a couple ticks left. And then also in the other National Southern Conference game, late Saddleback leads 25-7 over Southwestern. Saddleback, the 1-0 team, will be Riverside's last home game. They were ranked number 20 before their most recent loss, and now they might end up being ranked as they dismantle the former number 9 Southwestern Jaguars. That is a surprising ball game considering that Southwestern is the number 3 scoring defense in the state of California, but they give up usually 12 points a game. They allow 25 to Saddleback, who came in 2 and 3. So just like we saw earlier today, upsets galore in the Southeastern Conference. In the Southern Conference, we see upsets galore, which could change the landscape of this league by the time next week begins. Garabay's kickoff from the 35 yet again for RCC. He sends it end over end to the end zone. It's taken out this time by Andrew Lira, an athletic freshman from El Cajon. and he runs it back to the 23-yard line. Tripped up by Jalen Bowens. Extracurricular shoving following the tackle. We see Grossmont's Colton Joseph talking to some of the different Tigers. 12:58 to go in the ball game. Riverside up 37-10. What a performance tonight for the Tigers. They can win in any way. It was their offense against San Bernardino Valley, their defense against Long Beach a week later, and tonight their special teams has saved the day, along with obviously some contributions from the offense and defense. Run for no gain for Jarius Burnett, who came in as the league's third best rusher, just under 400 yards on the ground, but he had 11 yards in the first half, did score that touchdown, but Riverside has shut down that Grossmont run game. That was their bread and butter. Fourth in the league in rushing was Grossmont coming in, but nowhere near the production of Riverside on both fronts, offense and defense. Point of attack, they have beaten them today. And RCC, the better team, leads by 27. At's throw, hitch route left, Rosar the catch, Wilson the tackle at the 32 near the marker, about a yard short. Jacob Rosar has been pretty quiet tonight. Star freshman receiver out of Chula Vista. Over 100 yards last week in the ball game against Palomar. This is where Grossmont has struggled. They start games very well but can't finish. Griffins led 24-21, 14 minutes left in their ball game against Palomar. Then their offense had negative 10 yards on 12 plays, and thus Palomar beat them 35-24. Run. This is Jarius Burnett's. He gets some good blocking, and there's the display of his speed. At 5'11", 205 pounds, out of Warner Robins, Georgia, he rattles off a huge run. To my knowledge, that is a 34-yard run. Certainly don't quote me on it. Nick Rice in hand. RCC football. Glad you're with us early fourth quarter. Hey, the Griffins, they were shellacked a week ago against Palomar in that pass game. Comets with their QB sacked only once. Well, it was a great performance. Tonight, Stone Smart, he did have a solid completion rate, but certainly not the usual deep throws that we saw coming into the ball game, as we see Grossmont commit a delay of game. So the Griffins, no, it's a timeout.
Grossmont, your second of the half, one remaining.
11:05 left to go in the ball game. So Riverside, they battled tough in 2014 against Grossmont, struggled and lost 38-28, 8 turnovers. Grossmont had 2, and the Griffins beat them by 10. That was a crazy game. They were the #1 team in the state by week 3 of that year. Then after Riverside lost that game, they didn't lose again until the SCFA championship game. So they wound up rattling off, that would be 8 straight wins following that defeat early in the season. RCC is in another tough one tonight, and if history repeats itself, because they played Grossmont in 2014, then made it to the SCFA championship, 2015, and made it to the SCFA championship, here's 2018. And they would go in their 4th and 5 years of the SCFA title if they repeat history. 11:05 to go in the ball game. Brady Att is harassed. He is running backwards. Brady Att throws off his back foot, and the pass is caught by Matthew Linton. Brady Att, that's a play that will give your coach a heart attack. He was giving Riverside about 30 yards of field position and still managed to get rid of it. It appeared that he actually gained a couple yards. Did Matthew Linton, their freshman receiver out of Somerville, South Carolina.
As pass is complete after brings it to the 31-yard line.
Yeah, the PA announcer's trying to describe it in as polite a way as he can. And Brady Att, he was running backwards about 20 yards. 5-step drop. Att throws it out, cut right. The pass is underthrown and nearly picked off by Christian Swintz. Intended for Linton, it's incomplete. Swintz offers from Utah State, New Mexico, and Arizona. He's a highly touted freshman corner out of Compton. 16 stops, 2 interceptions, and 5 deflections this year for the stalwart cornerback. And he is just splitting snaps alongside Eric Wilson and Aaron Mannery out there at cornerback this year for Riverside. 10:19 to go in the contest. Tigers up 37-10. Riverside bringing in a couple other talented future starters on this Riverside defense. Brady out with a quick drop, gets rid of it over the middle, juggled and caught. That's Cravens on a slant, and he is wrestled down to the 17-yard line by Deshaun Neal, another future potential starter, a cornerback, with Mannery and Wilson gone after this year. Neal, a freshman out of Hermiston, Oregon. He has been in there alongside Isaac Atine, Kobe Fitzgerald, Christian Swintz. Certainly should be an entertaining backfield competition next year. Kua Olatoa, freshman, we saw him make his first pick of the year earlier. Bowens and Whitney are both just freshmen. And also, we haven't seen him yet, but a transfer out of North Carolina State, Cameron Moore. Quick drop at throws towards the end zone. It's incomplete. Intended for Linton. Coverage was there by Aaron Mannery. But Cameron Moore, he didn't play football for a couple years before signing with the RCC Tigers. And Moore so far this year as a tackle for loss this season. At that cornerback spot, we haven't seen Tyler Jones at all this year. Redshirt sophomore from Sandy Springs, Maryland. He is also a very talented player in that secondary. A couple freshmen, Chad Black and Terry Victor, have made a couple impacts. Chad Black, formerly out of Mount Union, or at least the only school to offer him a scholarship, and Terry Victor out of Washington State. Isaiah Popo played well as a Sacramento State transfer last year. Has recorded 8 stops and one deflection in 2018, as we see Grossmont engineering a solid drive here. They've got a third down midway through the fourth quarter. Certainly some talent on that defensive backfield, as the Griffins will need the Riverside 6-yard line to move the chains. Ma'alele checks in as tight end in a double tight set, offset eye. Fullback over right, that is Robert Romero, sophomore to Modesto, California. A fade to the end zone, dropped by Linton, as Mannery was beat by a step, but Linton couldn't catch his second drop on this drive. And that sets up a 4th and 6 for Grossmont. Griffins on third down, they have been incredibly inept tonight. 2 for 9 in the first half, and even a worse percentage so far in the second half. Quick update, Bosco leads 20-10 over Modern Day. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Mott throws a fade to the end zone. No one's there. It's incomplete, and the Tigers turn over Grossmont on downs. In the fourth quarter, quick update from Costa Mesa. Southwestern has made it a game against Saddleback. Gauchos 32 and the Southwestern Jaguars 20. Golden West up 24-7, but the Rustlers will win that contest. Too late in the fourth quarter for a comeback, as Riverside takes over inside the 15-yard line. Yes, it appears that game is just a couple snaps from going final. Golden West 24, Orange Coast 7. Here's a run from Dunmar Fisher, and he is tackled after a short game. Redshirt freshman out of Moreno Valley, California. He is one of several different ball carriers for the Tigers, as we see the clock under 6.5 minutes left to go in the ball game. 37-10 Riverside. It's a classic case of there's just too many bodies in there for the Tigers to make everyone happy. They've done as good a job as they can to do that. Stretch run right to Fisher, breaks a tackle, and is escorted out to the 17. But Fisher joins Quincy Wimbish, Eric Buchanan, and Malik Walker, who have garnered quite a few carries this year at tailback. Freshman Joseph Griffin has also got a couple, 5'8", 175 at Oak Hills. And Jamon McGlory. Well, he had video game numbers at Arlington High School in Riverside just across the road. But McGlory has also struggled to see the field. Just one carry this year for the RCC freshmen. Gabriel Clark, Ben Karakari, and Cesar Cruz, part of a backfield that is just so loaded for the Tigers. Walker leads it off, but we have seen Wimbish make strides this year, and even a bit of Eric Buchanan, where he scored his first touchdown of the season just a couple of minutes ago. Here's another run. Dunmar Fisher, 3 in a row. It's a strong pickup down to the 31-yard line. The tackle by Sola. It's a first down for RCC.
First down, Tigers.
All right, my vision was getting me wrong. Under 8 to go in the ball game. But Riverside is getting all their different ball carriers involved here in the fourth quarter. RCC and Huntington Beach to tangle the 2-3 Golden West Rustlers, who have just improved to 3-3 and 1-0 in the conference with their victory over Orange Coast. Smart takes the snap, hands Fisher, stretches left, gets towards the sideline, and is run down near the 33-yard line. So the Southern Conference, after this week, the standings are as follows: 5-1 Riverside, along with 3-3 Golden West, 3-3 Saddleback. You've got 4-2 Southwestern, 1-5 Orange Coast, and 0-6 Grossmont. That's the rankings right now. Top 3 are 1-0 in the league. Bottom 3 are 0-1. So just getting things started in conference play. It should be a fantastic year for both Riverside and potentially a team that could give them some fight, Southwestern. Saddleback proving that they're also a team worthy of a ranking. Dunmar Fisher moves the chains. Plenty of football left between now and what should be a pretty entertaining rankings and SCFA playoff seeding format, because RCC, the way they're playing, they are well on their way to winning this conference. In their first year in the Southern Conference, after spending 3 straight years tying the conference crown with Long Beach and Mount San Antonio most years in the Central League. 6:09 to go in the ball game. Riverside of the move, up 37-10. Grossmont a 3-man front. Long motion showers. But a delay of game is called against Stone Smart in Riverside. So I am curious why Stone Smart's still in there, a quarterback. A pretty strong quarterback crews in there. Garrett Kettle and Josh Owen are a couple who have seen snaps this year for the Tigers. Owen, a redshirt freshman out of Waco, Texas. He has almost 100 yards this year for the Tigers. Dunmar Fisher again. Rustled down by Sutherland as he got the penalty yardage back. Sets up a 2nd and long 10. Grossmont is back at home in El Cajon to tangle with number 9 Southwestern. The Jaguars, if they can't win, come back and win tonight. They're making it a game against Saddleback. Was 24-7. Now it's 27-20 in that contest. But if Southwestern can't beat them, then they will most certainly drop out of the top 10. Dunmar Fisher.
Down, Tigers.
Tigers have driven from their own 13-yard line inside the Grossmont 40 with 5 minutes to go in the game. Around the SCFA, San Diego Mesa certainly looks pretty impressive. That 49-21 victory they had over the former number 16 Olympians, as Eric Buchanan runs for a gain of a yard, as Mesa leads 30-28 over the Warriors of El Camino. East Los Angeles in their conference opener against Long Beach lead 10-7 over the Vikings. ELAC has garnered receiving votes for quite a few weeks now and may end up being a ranked club. Former doormat in the SCFA. Fourth quarter, Ventura leads at home over Bakersfield 23-10. 39-20, Saddleback was pulled away from Southwestern, and the Gauchos, 2:30 to go in the fourth quarter. They have seemingly clinched that contest. Mount Sac leads at Escondido High School against Palomar 35-31. Golden West has beaten Orange Coast 24-10. And also pretty significant the games earlier tonight. Number 1 Fullerton over Cerritos and number 2 Canyons rolling over Moore Park 36-3. 3:49 to go on a methodical drive for RCC. Tigers may not even let Grossmont get the ball back. Villemue Smith, Houston, and DeQuante Showers are the 3 receivers for Riverside. Here's the run to number 28, Joseph Griffin. And the freshman gallops to the 29-yard line, setting up a 4th and 1. Let's take a look at that 4th down offense for RCC with a 37-10 lead. Pretty quick ball game as well. The one against San Diego Mesa lasted about 3 hours and 20 minutes. This one at about 2 hours and 40 minutes. 4th and 1 for Riverside. Grossmont crowds the box. Here's a run to Clark. He rips it loose, stumbles, stays on his feet. Jenkins the hit and the tackle at the Grossmont 12. Clark moves the chains, rather Griffin moves the chains. And the freshman from Oak Hills converts a 4th and short.
Joseph Griffin, first down. He picks up the first down. Tigers.
That was a quick listen to maybe the best public address announcer in college football. Don't know his name, but I certainly know his game. Dachelle Johnson is the injured Griffin. Well, for Grossmont, after this ball game, they will fall to 0-6 on the season. Certainly, even if they win out, will garner no tiebreakers against the SCFA. Riverside with a win most likely will stay as the number 3 team in the state because the top 2 took care of business today. Beat down over Moore Park for number 2 Canyons. And despite it being ugly, number 1 Fullerton wins 35-25 over Cerritos. Came in unranked. 2:44 left to go in the ball game. Riverside up 37-10. But RCC also must be proud about the way that they handled this team. A club in Grossmont that nearly came back and beat them in 2015. And this go around, the Griffins, they can call this performance a pretty good one. And they're about to lose by 27. 2:13 to go in the ball game. Here's an inside run. Fisher cuts it out right, breaks a tackle, and Dunmar Fisher is cut down to the 1. Andrew Lira saved the touchdown, and he is wagging his finger like he's some Dikembe Mutombo. 1st and goal for Riverside. And this could help boost that scoring total. They average 48 a game. It's 37-10 RCC. And just for pride points, they'd love to cap this off with a touchdown. It would be an 87-yard drive if they're able to punch it in. Kane Villamy, the tight end, sophomore from Oahu, Hawaii. Timeout, Grossmont with 1:46 to go in the ball game. Michael Jordan and the Griffins don't want this to be a touchdown again. But Grossmont must be very encouraged about the way they have performed tonight. Sensational performance by that defense. Riverside got it going with 17 unanswered. Stone Smart, he did throw his 1 touchdown of the ball game to Tyrone Marshall in the first quarter, but really the efforts tonight came from, it wasn't inconsistent, but certainly a solid ground game tonight. We saw special teams plays from Tyler Kennedy. He really made huge impact on special teams. Tigers defense forced 3 turnovers. Fumble recovery from Jose Ramirez and I believe Christian Swintz. Interception by Kua Olatoa. And for Riverside now, that run game is starting to take over in this 4th quarter. Against struggling Grossmont, we see Malik Walker score 2 touchdowns. We see Eric Buchanan punch 1 in. And now maybe Dunmar Fisher can cap it off with the 4th rushing touchdown for RCC tonight. At the 1-yard line, Fisher flanks the quarterback with under 2 to go in the ball game. Maybe another timeout? Timeout Riverside. You can hear the tone of the officials. They're ready for this one to finish up. Riverside, just the season recap. Against El Camino, they did a great job with Stone Smart throwing several touchdowns and that went over the Warriors. But then they returned home for the season opener against Fullerton. The game lived up to all the billing. And it just pains me as a Riverside fan to see how that game ended. Third quarter, Garibay missed a PAT. Turned out the Tigers were chasing that 1 point for the remainder of the game. Riverside had about, I believe, 4 minutes left with the football and a chance to drive for the game-winning or at least game-leading score. Offense sputters. They figure they have enough time to get the ball back, so they punt, and then Fullerton runs out all but the last about 15 seconds of the clock and win the ball game. One statistic that we can take against the Tigers in that matchup, Fullerton racked up almost 600 yards in that win. But for the Tigers, they were great in the red zone, and they did take away the football, so that was crucial for them. Quarterback Neal. It also pains me they're not going to punch one in last second against Grossmont, but this is certainly a display of some class for Riverside that they'll take the 37-10 win. Hornets certainly played well against RCC in week 2, but Tigers off the defeat. They responded like a championship caliber club always do as Riverside rattled off now 4 straight with a win today. 77-35 at San Bernardino Valley, a shutout 47-0 at Long Beach, a huge win over San Diego Mesa, and then in the conference opener, taking care of business, 37-10 over Grossmont. Quarterback Neal in victory formation for Stone Smart. He'll need one more, then the Tigers will be 1-0 in the conference and 5-1 overall. Grossmont with the defeats. It's their second straight loss to Riverside, and now they are 0-6 and 0-1 in conference play. Southwestern is teetering right now. Off the loss to Saddleback, they look to rebound. Does both the Jaguars and the Griffins as Grossmont plays host to Southwestern next Saturday at 3 p.m. The kickoff time on the 20th at West Hills High School in Southern California. Riverside will be in Huntington Beach next Saturday against Golden West. Make sure to catch our next live stream here at Wheelock in 2 Saturdays when Riverside battles number 9 Southwestern. Final kneel down for Stone Smart, and the Tigers win their conference opener. A beatdown of the second half, the way they did against San Diego Mesa last week, as RCC closes the door and knocks off the Griffins for the second straight time. It's Riverside 37 and Grossmont 10 as the Tigers roll the Grossmont Griffins.
The final gun for tonight's game. The final, the Riverside City College Tigers 37, the Grossmont Griffins 10. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Everybody have a safe drive home. The Tigers travel to Golden West. They'll be back here in 2 weeks, another home game. Everybody have a very safe weekend. Thank you.
So Riverside out Golden West next week. Grossmont against Southwestern. Tigers rushed for 3 touchdowns, forced 3 takeaways. It was a slugfest, but they got it done here at home in their conference opener. RCC 5-1, and Grossmont falls to 0-6. For the rest of our broadcast crew, I'm Nick Rice saying thanks so much for watching. Another live stream for the RCC Tigers. We'll be back on this live stream in 14 days when the Tigers play host to number 9 Southwestern here in this building in late October. This is Nick Rice saying so long from Wheelock Stadium as Riverside rolls Grossmont 37-10. Good night.